Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are gonna see, what if Pervy Naruto was raised by Yandere Mavis in Hotel Transylvania? Special movie. Shock, fear, rage and concern were what Mavis feels at this very moment. The young teenage-like vampire just turned 106 today and decided to sneak out of her home/hotel to find the human village without her father's knowledge. After a long trek, Mavis comes across something that shocks her to the core. There in front of her lie a bloodied 6-year-old blonde boy, and she can see bruises and cuts all over his body. There must be some more under caked blood and tattered clothes. She thought this poor boy was dead at first until she saw his chest moving up and down sluggishly, and the young vampire immediately kneeled down next to him, shaking his shoulders lightly, not know what to do in this situation. Hey. Hey. What happened? What happened to you? Who did that to you? She screamed, and the boy's eyes fluttered open slightly to reveal unfocused blue eyes, filled with fear. Please don't. Who hurt me? The boy shivered weakly. No more. Stop. Hurting me. I'm sorry. What? Mavis scooped him up carefully as she tried to soothe him while holding him against her chest. No. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm here to help you. She don't know what to do until the hotel. Her daddy and the family friends can help. She quickly ran back to the direction of the hotel with boy in her arms. Help, he whispered weakly as if it's a foreign word. No, you lie. LL like them. L like everyone. Who? She asked hurriedly. Everyone. The boy's eyelids slowly drooped down. The villagers. Villagers? Like humans? Mavis can see the hotel in distance. Why yes. Humans like you. He whispered softly, and she almost lost her footing, but she managed to keep her balance. No, little one. She said, I'm not human, I'm a vampire. Really? The boy whispered, almost hopeful. Yes, really. Mavis flashed her fangs. See? I have fangs. Humans don't have something like that, don't they? No, they don't, the boy uttered. I'm happy you're not human. Because they're bad. Always call me demon, monster. He trailed off slowly, and the worried vampire glanced down at his face, seeing that he's about to pass out. Hey. Keep your eyes open. The vampire panicked. What's your name? Tell me your name. Naruto, he replied before he passed out in her arms. Hey, wake up. Mavis shook him carefully, but his eyes stay closed. Shit. She picked up her pace with frantic expression. Guys, have you seen Mavis? Dracula swiftly approached his friends with worried, nervous and concern all over his face. She wasn't in her room, and I can't find her anywhere. Have you checked the kitchen? Wayne asked. Spa? Frank hummed. The roof? Murray pointed to the ceiling. Or the closet? Griffin said before everyone looked at him oddly. What? The closet. Why? Why should she? The vampire stuttered in confusion before he waved his arms around silly. I already checked everywhere. He quickly checked the closet, then back to the group, and she's not there. Where would she have gone to? Maybe she sneaked out to the human village. The werewolf said with thumb over his shoulder. What? Dracula gasped in horror. No, she won't. She promised me that she'll never go out until she's. A loud blam immediately attracted their attention to the lobby's entrance and see Mavis with frantic expression. Mavis, where have you been? He smelled blood. Dad, guys, he need help. Mavis suddenly flew over to the group to show them Naruto in her arms as everyone widened their eyes at his state. Please help him. Quick. Bring him to medical room. The werewolf quickly ran toward the said location while pushing the young vampire with the group in tow. What happened to him? I don't know. The vampire shook her head as she kept glanced at the injured boy. I found him in the woods like that. He said humans were hurting him, calling him names, and I tried to ask him, but he passed out. Humans? Dracula nearly tripped over his cape as they quickly enter the medical room, and Wayne immediately ordered her to place the boy on cot so he can examine and aid the child while cutting tattered clothes off, due to his job as doctor. But isn't he a human? It was very obvious to everyone it's a human child, but they don't care about race because child is still child to them. I know. Mavis said to him before she turned to the werewolf. How bad is it? Can you help Naruto? His name is Naruto. Frank said worriedly. How do you know? He told me before he passed out. The young vampire answered. It's really bad. Whoever did that to him was torturing him. Wayne grimaced at his injuries. It's a miracle he's still alive. He looked to the group. I think you guys need to go outside so I can stitch him up and everything. Frank, push them out and close the door. Oh, okay. Get it. The Frankenstein's monster pushed everyone out so the werewolf can do his job and closed the door behind him. Did you go to the human village? Dracula spun around to face his daughter with a worried hiss. And no, I was in forest. Mavis started to pace forth and back in front of door with one eye on it. Why would humans do that to a little boy? He's just 6. You always told me that humans are evil. And you're right. How would people do that to hurt a poor little boy? He's one of them and yet. It is just how it is, the older vampire whispered, and the group remained by the door out of concern and worries. No one know how long it have been since they brought the boy to medical room under Wayne's care, and they don't have to wait any longer when the werewolf opened the door before Mavis rush up to him with rapid fire questions. How is Naruto? Is he okay now? Can we see him? Is he? He's sleeping. Wayne shushed her. I cleaned and patched him up as much as I can and he's recovering. You can go see him but don't wake him up. Oh okay. Mavis quickly entered the room to Naruto's side and look over him. He have a lot of bandage wraps and wear arm and leg casts. She quietly sit down on chair next to him with worries all over her face. How bad is it? Griffin whispered to the werewolf as the adults get closer to listen. Very bad. The werewolf grimaced heavily. He have been stabbed, cutting up, burned, and it looked like someone have used acid. He have broken and fractured bones as if someone have been beat him up, not just with fists but with blunt weapons. How he survived it all, I don't know. He sighed heavily as the adults looked so pale. Physically, he'll get better but mentally, I don't know. What will happen to him after that? Murray asked them. We're not going to send him back to wherever he come from, aren't we? I don't know. Dracula said unsurely. His eyes slowly flutter open with a soft groan and he hear a sharp gasp before he tense up as he turn his head slightly, only to relax when he recognize her from woods. Vampire lady, Naruto uttered before he coughed roughly from dry throat. Here, Naruto, drink it. Mavis quickly holds glass of water to him, pushing bendy straw to his mouth as he take it with gulps. Easy, drink it slow. Naruto give her a slow nod and she wait until he finish sipped his water. Better. She put the glass away then smiled down at him kindly. I'm Mavis. Do you know where you are? He shook his head slowly. You're in hotel, owned by my dad, and it's for monsters only. And no humans? He whispered softly with hopeful tone, resting his head down on pillow. No humans. The vampire confirmed with a small smile. Thank you. Naruto muttered after few minutes, for saving me, you're first.
First for what? Mavis asked. First to help me. First one to be nice to me. No one did that for me before, the boy answered slowly as his eyes slowly drooped with few flutters. She looked so surprised by that, wondering why was he treating like that by humans and what did he do to earn that.
You should rest more. The vampire placed her hand on his chest gently. Can you stay with me? Naruto asked sleepily, almost sound like pleading. Yes, I will. Mavis tucked him gently and the boy gives her another slow nod before he falls asleep. I'll always be there for you. The next 2 weeks were very anxious and jittery for Hotel Transylvania and Naruto, but Mavis was able to calm and ease him in. There were few incidents when Naruto was recovering in medical room. The first one was when Wayne stopped by to give the little boy a checkup and he suddenly screamed out with flailing arms when the werewolf picked up scalpel knife to cut the stitches for removal. The boy thought he was going to be attacked until Mavis quickly calmed him down and hold his hands, promising him that the werewolf wasn't going to harm him while the said monster carefully takes stitches out. Second incident was when Dracula show up and Naruto thought he was a human, freaking out with hollers and scream until the young vampire hugged him to calm him down and told him that Dracula was also a vampire. She even told her father to transform into vampire bat and show the fangs as proof. Third incident occur often when Naruto wake up with screams because he had recurring nightmare of his attacks and Mavis often scoop him up onto her laps then rock him to sleep while shushing and hum a soothing tune. She would sometime end up sleeping in the cot with Naruto curling up on her side. The news of human boy and his situation have spread everywhere within Hotel Transylvania and the monsters went out of their ways to deliver get well gifts and cards to the boy. Wanda and Eunice sometime would look after Naruto while Mavis had to left the medical room for personal business or to get something for them to eat. Right now, Mavis was reading a bedtime story to the boy. And they all lived happily ever after. She closed the children book, the end. She smiled down to him, time to sleep. Okay. Naruto yawned. Good night, Naruto. The smiling vampire tucked him in. Good night, the boy fall asleep with a mutter, Mommy. Oh. Mavis gasped softly as she looked down at the snoring boy before a smile break out on her face and she pecked his forehead lightly then quietly left the room. She move over to the lobby then look around until she find her father and the young vampire walk up to him, having made a decision. Dad. Oh, Mavis. Dracula smiled widely at his daughter, is little one sleeping well? Yes, I just put him to sleep. Mavis replied before she bit her lower lip, can I ask you something? When Naruto get all better, can he stay here with us? For good? I don't want to send him back to horrible place with humans. She said, humans with venom, she have give up on socializing with humans and now believe them to be bad like her father. The only human that she like and care about is Naruto and Dracula was perfectly fine with that. He even accept Naruto because in his eyes, he's a innocent child who don't deserve to be with humans. In fact, he was hopping around like hyper kid in candy shop when he found out that Mavis gave up on her dream. Yes, he can stay with us for good. The older vampire nodded, there is absolutely no way I'm sending him out there to be with his kind. Great. The young vampire clapped her hands together with beaming smile, I'll do my best to raise Naruto as my child. She pecked her father's cheek then ran out back to the boy's side, thank, Dad. You're welcome, Ma. Dracula smiled beamingly before his eyes widened with dropped jaw, wait, what? Whoa, you're a grandpa now. Murray popped up at his side with wide grin. Congrats, man. Frank grinned widely. Oh, boy, I heard it's quite joyous to have a grandchild. Griffin said happily. Yeah, isn't it nice? Wayne patted his friend's shoulder with a smile. I'm too young to be grandpa. The vampire screeched with hands on his head. How did his precious daughter come to this decision? It's too fast, too fast. The poor shocked vampire pass out and his friends look over him with few blinks. Guess he's overjoyed by the news. The mummy said with fists on his hip and the monsters nod their heads before he look up to them. Hey, we should convert one of rooms into Naruto's room, what do you think? Oh, yes, we can do that with one room near Mavis' room. The invisible man agreed and the monsters walk upstairs, leaving the fainted vampire behind on lobby floor. Mavis smiled down to her now adopted son, Naruto, as he slowly get out of the medical bed nervously and he immediately cling onto her leg as if he was afraid that she'll disappear on him. The vampire strokes his hair gently to ease his worry before she look up to Wayne. Does he have clean bill of health or is there anything I need to know and watch out for? He have clean bill of health. Wayne nodded, however, there must be some lingering effects of his injuries so you should keep your eyes on him to make sure nothing happen and if anything does, give me a call right away. He pick a small bag then hand it over to her. These are the medicals for him that he need to take for a while, please follow the directions on the paper inside. Will do. Mavis nod her head once before she turn her gaze down to Naruto as she hold her hand out to him, ready to go? The boy glances at the door nervously before he slowly reach out for her hand. Naruto nod timidly as he holds her hand tightly and she close her hand around his small hand. It feel big, soft and cold, yet warm. Come on. The vampire smiled kindly down to him before she opened the door and the new mother-son pair walk out into a hallway as the boy moved closer to her leg while glancing around nervously at the new surrounding. Are you hungry? Do you want me to make you something? Naruto quietly shake his head and she wasn't sure which question he answered to because she asked two different questions in one sentence. Okay, Mavis tried to think what to do until she remembers something as she looked down to him again with a happy gasp. Oh, right. I'd better show you your new room. You're going to love it. She led him to the staircase, walking up the steps and several floors. There weren't a lot of people out because it's morning and most guests tend to sleep in. He looked a little exhausted by walking many steps. Hold on. Mavis halt her walking to pick him up, adjusting her hold until he was sitting on her right forearm with another hand around his back to prevent from dropping him as he wrapped his arms around her neck with head on her shoulder. Better? She asked, resuming climbing up the stairs and Naruto nod timidly as he half bury his face in her nape. It takes some time until she reached the top floor and she walked down the hallway until she stopped in front of a door then put her son down. Naruto held his hands up in air to her for few moments as if he want to stay in her arms before he slowly retreat them timidly, Casting his eyes down, and the vampire bend down to lift his chin up so they can look into each other's eyes. Ready to see your room? She smiled, and he just blinked as the vampire stand up to open the door, revealing the bedroom for the first time. The bedroom turns out to be a luxury suite with bathroom like Mavis, and it have some basic furniture from wardrobe closet to king-size bed. Naruto see many toys piling up in one corner with chest and some stuffed animals on the bed, a large fuzzy orange rug under a low table and few other things. Everyone was very kind that they bought clothes for you. Mavis zoomed over to the dresser, pulling one drawer out to pick few shirts up with a grin before she looked at their sizes. Although, I think some might be little too big or tight for you, so you should try them on later. She stowed them back inside, then moved to the toy chest. Oh, and they even buy toys for you. She pick up a very old game board, along with some of my old stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun playing with these. She quickly opened the bathroom's door. Here is your bathroom, you can use it for, she giggled sheepishly. Well, you know what's it for. She pointed at the door across his room in the hallway. Over there is my room, so you know where to find me at night if you need me for something. She quickly turns to Naruto with clasped hands as she smiled at him. So, what do you think? Do you like your room? It's a all F for me. Naruto whispered softly as he looked around timidly before he looks down at his feet. Really? Yes, really. The vampire smiled widely. I never have O1L like this O01 before, he fidgeted with a stutter. No? Mavis said. What was your old room like? Naruto's shoulders tensed with some tremble, and she quickly changed the topic right away after noticing it. Decide to never bring anything about his past up again. Never mind. Let's get you changed and we can go down for some snacks if you're hungry now. Okay? Oh okay. Mommy, Naruto muttered before he whipped his head up with widened eyes. I'm sorry. I mean Mavis. Don't be sorry. She crouched down with a beaming smile at his eye level. You can call me mommy, after all you're my son now. The boy's eyes widened in many mixed emotions ranging from shock to hopeful. Really? You're my mommy. Mavis' smile widened as she nodded. Yes, I am. Unless you. She almost get knocked back over when Naruto suddenly glommed her with his arms around her neck as he buried his face in her shoulder, then he cried, which caused her to quickly wrap her arms around him while rocking him. What's wrong? What's wrong? She asked worriedly until he spoke up with some sniffles. I never had a mommy before, Naruto sobbed. Oh, Naruto. Mavis tightens her hug as she nuzzles the top of his head with her cheek. You do now. They hugged for a while until she gently moved him back with a smile, and she booped his nose lightly with index finger, drawing a very tiny smile from him. Naruto rubbed the bottom of his orange shirt with his index finger and thumb while examining it as his other hand held onto his mother's hand. They were walking to the dining room on the first floor, and he stayed very close to her legs, which make it a little difficult for the vampire to walk normal, but she don't mind it. They were about to enter until they hear someone greet them. Hello, Mavis, Naruto. Mavis looked over to her right to see her father approaching them with a smile as the blonde boy hid behind her legs. I hear the little one is up and around now. He glanced down at the boy friendly. How are you? The boy barely peeks at him before he shoves his face into the back of his mother's legs, clenching them for life. It's okay, Naruto. Mavis said down to him as she bent down while moved her legs slightly apart to look into his eyes. Do you remember him? He timidly nodded his head slowly. That's my dad, your grandpa. GG grandpa. Naruto peeked out under her legs to the older vampire before he quickly hides his face in the back of Mavis' right leg as soon as Dracula give him a smile. I see someone's a little shy. Dracula said with a light chuckle. His brain still can't wrap around the fact that he's a grandpa now and to a human. That would take some time for him to get around it, but he'll do it for his daughter's sake. Yup, and it's understandable why. The young vampire placed hand on top of her son's head, stroking gently as Naruto leaned closer to her. We're going to eat something. Do you want to join us? She asked to change the topic. I'd love to, but I can't right now. The older vampire shook his head. I have a lot of work to do today. Maybe next time. Okay, Daddy, see you later. Mavis waved to her father as he walked past them with his own wave before she took Naruto's hand again with a smile. Come on, let's go inside. They enter the dining room and Naruto glanced around at many tables before he moved closer to his mother nervously when he sees some early riser monsters receiving their foods at the buffet table. The strangers make him very nervous until he feel a hand patting his head gently. It's okay, Naruto, no one is going to hurt you. His mother smiled kindly, I promise. Oh okay. Naruto looked up to her as they approached the buffet table and he can't see the top even if he's on his toes before Mavis pick him up, placing him on her right arm and shoulder. See anything you like? She asked and the boy examined many different foods in fascination as if he has never seen them before. He mutely point at scrambled eggs before she point at it. This one. You want some scrambled eggs? Naruto nod once as she scoops some onto both plates, one for you and one for me. What else? I don't know, he said quietly. How about pancakes? Mavis asked. Pancake? Naruto repeated slowly, glanced up to her confusingly. Pancake. You never have one before. She corrected and asked him at same time and the blonde timidly shake his head once before she takes some pancakes. Well, try them and you'll love them. The vampire place few more foods on the plates as the blonde boy rest his head on her shoulder and play with her hair while glancing between her and the plates. Have finished making her selection. Mavis carefully pick both plates up while holding her son then walk to a table as some monsters politely clear her path and she set the plates before she sit down, placing Naruto next to her at left side. She reaches out for the syrup bottle and pours it onto the pancakes before she give her son plastic fork and knife. Eat up. Naruto clumsily cut his pancake then slowly take a bite as she watch him eating with a smile. Is it good? Uh-huh. The blonde boy nodded once while chewing his food, leaning his head on her side and Mavis massage his scalp gently as she start to eat her breakfast with her free hand. Was the foods yummy? Mavis asked her son with a smile as they left the dining room. Yes. Naruto nodded before he looks up to her. Where are we going? Well, she hummed thoughtfully, we are going back to your room and find something that you want to do, okay? She want to make him feel comfortable as possible as she can and she noticed that he get very nervous when many guests show up. He even almost panic when the chef come out with cooking knife until Mavis place him on her laps, hugging him as he bury his face in her chest while Frankenstein and Murray push the hunchbacked chef back inside the kitchen. It's better to take him back to his room or to her room for time being. Okay. He replied and they make their way back up to his bedroom. When they enter, he went to the bedside table to get the book then returned to Mavis as he hold it up slowly to her. Mommy, Naruto asked shyly, will you read me this book again? Yes, of course I will. Mavis take the book from him with a smile as the blonde's face lit up and she sit down on rug with crossed legs. Allow her son to crawl onto her then curl up against her. Let's see where we left off at. She flipped through pages until she find it then read it out loud to Naruto and he listened to each word. She have overhear a bit about a human boy from her ma and pa like that he got hurt by bad humans, that no one should bring it up around him and that he is now living in this hotel with big sister Mavis as his ma. She really don't know much about this human boy because she have never seen him for 2 weeks but all she know is that her ma set up a playdate between her and this boy with Mavis because she know how not to play rough unlike her siblings, which is important since this boy can't get hurt really bad again. She look up to her ma as soon as the adult knock a door and Mavis open it before the vampire smile at them. Hiya, Wanda, Winnie. Mavis greeted the werewolves. Hello, Mavis. Wanda smiled to her surrogate niece. How is Naruto? He's doing good. The vampire glanced down at her legs and the werewolves notice a tuft of blonde hair peeking out behind her legs. Still little shy, you know? Ah, I understand. The older werewolf nod understandingly before she looked down to her daughter, Winnie. Mavis will look after you for few hours while I go down with your pa for our anniversary dinner so be good and play nice. Okay? Okay. Winnie replied and Mavis take a step aside to allow the little werewolf in before the vampire look up to Wanda. I'll take good care of Winnie so please go enjoy your dinner and happy anniversary, Mavis said. Thank you. Don't hesitate to call for us if anything come up. Wanda smiled to her before she leave with a bye and the vampire closed the door then turned to Winnie as Mavis bend down to her son. Naruto, I want you to meet Winnie, she's Wayne's and Wanda's daughter. The vampire smiled kindly as she gently pushes Naruto out behind her back. Winnie, that is Naruto. Hi. Winnie waved once. Hello. Naruto replied timidly as he hold onto his mother's side, glancing up and down her appearance. He has never seen her before but no one can blame him because he has been staying in medical room for week then in his bedroom for 3 days. Winnie is going to play with you. Mavis patted his head gently. Why don't you go and show her your toys? The blonde boy gives her a small nod and he slowly makes his way to the toy chest with Winnie in tow. What do you? The blonde fidgeted nervously after he opened the chest up. Want TT to see first? Do you have balls? Winnie peeked inside the chest, then shifted her gaze to him. I like balls. Why yes, I have some. Naruto moves some toys away to reveal several various balls at bottom. Let's play catch with this one. The werewolf picks a small blue ball up with a squeak and she places it into the boy's hand. He look at it, then up to her unsurely. You throw it anywhere. The blonde turned to look to his mother and Mavis give him an encouraging nod before he turned back to Winnie, then slowly throw the ball at random direction. Suddenly, Winnie run after the bouncing ball on her fours and she catch it with her mouth like a dog, then she run back to Naruto, dropping the drool-covered ball into his hand. Throw it again. Winnie bounced with wagging tail and the blinking boy glanced between her and ball in his hand few times before he throw it, watching the werewolf jumping around with more blinks. They continue to play catch for a while until the vampire speaks up. Guys, how about we play something else different? Mavis place a snakes and ladders game board on floor. Want to give the kids a chance to talk to each other. Ah, I want to catch more. Winnie whined with her tail down. We can play it later. The blonde pat her head in attempt to cheer her up. If you want to. Okay. The young girl perked up with wagging tail as the children start playing the game board. What's your favorite color? I like pink and black. Naruto glanced at his orange rug as he moved his piece up a ladder. Oh, orange. Oh. Winnie hummed as she tossed dices. Why do you like it? I don't know. I just like it. He answered. Do you like picture books? I like this book mommy read to me every day. I guess so. The werewolf replied thoughtfully. Mavis your ma, right? Naruto nodded. Lucky. That mean you got to live in a castle all the time and can do a lot of fun things all the time. Like making cannonball in big pool and playing hide and seek in many rooms. What's cannonball? Naruto looked at her curiously. And hide and seek. You never play hide and seek before. Winnie looked surprised. It's really fun game. You have to find a good hiding place to hide in so you don't get catched by the seeker. You lose if the seeker find you, or you win if you're a seeker. If you're it, you have to find all hiders. Oh, it sound like fun, he said slowly and unsurely. We can play it after this one. The werewolf said as her piece slid down the snake. What else do you like? The kids talk about random things and anything that pop into their heads while playing the board game, and Mavis smile at the sight. She wonder if that's how her father feel when he watch her playing with guests' kids when she was little. Did you have fun today? Mavis asked her son as she tucked him in his bed. Yeah. Naruto nodded with a small bubbly smile. Winnie said we're friends now and she's my first one. I never have one before. Can I play with her again tomorrow? Yes, you can. She chuckled lightly, fluffing his pillow before she kissed his forehead. Good night, Naruto, I love you. Night, mommy, I love you too. The boy yawned slightly before he fidgeted with his blanket. Mommy, can you stay with you tonight? Mavis finished his question as the boy nodded nervously before she slipped under the blanket, kicking her shoes off, and she pulled Naruto into her arms. Yes, I will. Naruto had a worst nightmare last night and he was so terrorized that he run into her room late at night without any warning, waking her up when he crawled into her bed. Without saying anything, she allowed him to sleep in her arms and he didn't tell her about his dream, but she suspect it must be related to his attack. Comfortable? She asked him. Naruto snuggled close to his mother with a yawn as his eyelids drift down. Night, mommy. Night. She kissed his forehead again and she watches him sleeping as she slowly join him. Lately, Naruto have become little more energetic and less, Murray laughed lightly as he watched a large lump shuffling under Dracula's cape while the smiling vampire walked slowly, shushing some curious monsters from pointing it out. Yeah, it has been almost a month since Mavis found him. Griffin nodded as the said vampire appeared next to her father while pretending to look around with a small smile. She has been doing well raising him so far, plus Winnie did her part helping him indirectly by playing games and doing things together. Make me wonder if having friends can heal him faster. Frank thinks deeply as Mavis asked her father if he have seen his grandson, and the older vampire shrugged his shoulders playfully. Maybe we can. I'll talk to Eunice about that and see how it'll turn out. More friends, huh? The invisible man rubbed his chin and the mummy looked thoughtful. Wayne's family had left the hotel couple days ago and poor boy was bawling his eyes out because his first and best friend had to go until she promised him that she'll come back on the next vacation, which her family always does. And Mavis suddenly flipping the cape over to reveal Naruto before she picked him up then tickled him silly as he laughed out loudly while squirming around. Gotcha. The adults can't help but to smile at the sight. The hotel look almost so empty due to off-season and there are only few guests around, which make Naruto feel very comfortable enough to wander around a bit without his mother. Naruto dribbling a big ball down the hallway as he kept his eyes on the ball and he turned around a corner, suddenly bump into a person. They nearly trip down as the ball bounce away from Naruto before a person regains the balance and grab his shoulder to support him up. Oh, I'm sorry, are you okay? The person asked with concern and Naruto look up to see a tall young girl. She have a lavender skin, long puffy purple hair, green eyes, fangs and she wear long dark purple dress with knee-high slit, red sash high up around her stomach and pair of red flat shoes. Why yes, I am. Naruto take a couple steps back nervously as he fidgeted with his hands. I'm sorry, I should have watched where I. It's okay, it's not your fault. She said kindly, you don't know that I was coming up behind this corner, it happens to everyone all the time. She look over him, my name is Sabella and you are. And Naruto. The blonde answered. Oh, you're this. Sabella clapped her hands together in realization. She has heard a lot of rumors about a human living in this hotel and she don't know the details but one thing she knows that he have been adopted by a vampire, the daughter of the hotel's owner. When her family come to this hotel for 2 weeks staying for her relative's wedding, Dracula inform her family there is a human boy living here and tell them not to be alert by that. It's fantastic to meet you, Naruto. Fantastic? Naruto blinked confusingly, and nice to meet you too. What were you doing in hallway with this ball? Sabella picked his ball up. Playing. He answered. By yourself? The young vampire blinked with arched brow, with no one? Mommy and Grandpa are busy with work, Naruto replied timidly, and my friend is not here. Ah. Sabella hummed, if it's okay, may I play with you? Really? He lit up. Why you want to play with me? Of course. She nodded. Okay. Naruto chirped. Does that make us friends? She gave him another nod. Want to play catch or? Yes. Let's play it. Sabella toss ball to him and he pass it back to her, talking a bit in between about each other.
A couple days later, Naruto was wearing an orange swim pant and black t-shirt as he sit on lounge chair at poolside with his mother, waiting for his new friend to show up. All done. Mavis smiled proudly to herself after she finished inflated pool tube and water wings. Let me put those on you. She put wings on the boy's arms. How is it? Too tight.
A little, but it's okay. He smiled up to her. Good. The mother messed his hair up with a smile. Do you want to go in water now or wait for Sabella? Wait for Sabella. Naruto said happily with swinging legs and Mavis smile at him. She's glad that he befriends Sabella because the young vampire always say kind things and complimenting him almost on everything, which boost his self-esteem in short time. The boy look around until he noticed something in the pool and he turned his head curiously to see a pair of teal eyes and wet heap of blonde hair with some blue streaks floating at the poolside as the owner stare at him. Naruto tilt his head at that and the owner lift its head up then spit water at his face, giggling as he wipe his face with some stutters. Gotcha. The owner of teal eyes giggled at him. Hiya. The owner reveals to be a young girl around his age as she waves her webbed hand to him. Wanna play? Be my friend? What's your name? I'm Laguna. She has long hair, blue scales skin, fins on her limbs and freckles under her eyes. She wear blue and black one-piece swimsuit. I'm Naruto. The boy said slowly, why yes, we can be friends, but I can't play now because I'm waiting for Sabella to come. Okay, cool. Laguna propped her chin on the edge of pool with a grin. Do you like playing in pool? I do, because it's fun in water. I have one at home but it's not big like this one. I don't know. Naruto poked his fingers. I only went into pool one time with mommy so I can learn how to swim. I'm not really good at swimming. That's okay. I can show you how to be a good one. The sea monster smiled lopsidedly. I'm the best swimmer. Really? The boy blinked as Laguna bobbed her head merrily and before he can say anything else, Sabella show up in purple one-piece swimsuit. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Sabella said before she noticed the sea monster in the pool. Oh, hello. My name is Sabella and you are. Her name's Laguna and she want to play with us. Naruto introduced the sea monster. Well, the more the merrier. The young vampire smiled as she dipped into the pool with her human friend. Do you have a game in mind? Water fight. Laguna splashed waters at her new friends with a laughter and they fling waters back at her as Mavis watched them with a giggle, soaking her legs first. Her son ended up dragging her in to join the water fight. Grandpa, can I ask you something? Naruto asked. What is it, and Naruto? Dracula grunted out with some struggling breath. The reason why he have hard time getting words out is because his grandson was lying flat on his cape like a blanket and it act as a magic carpet, by pulling him around. When I get bigger, will I own the hotel like you and mommy? The boy tilts his head up to stare at the back of the vampire's head. Oh, you want to run hotel, like your grandpa and mom? The vampire grinned. Yeah, I want to help. Naruto stretched his arms up, can I? Yes, someday when you get older enough to help out. Dracula replied happily and his grandson make a cheering noise.
Grandpa. The boy crossed arms on his stomach. Yes.
What's zing? He asked innocently and it almost make Dracula trip over his feet with some stutter. Where do you hear this word? Dracula stuttered with darting eyes. He always find it awkward to explain love to children, even to his daughter when she was an ankle biter. I heard someone talking about someone else and they keep saying zing a lot. Naruto held his fingers out, like a lot. The vampire struggled to find the right words to explain to a little boy. Special feeling that you have for a special someone. Love, you know. Oh, like how I love mommy and you. The boy said innocently. Yeah, like that but more special. Dracula said, you have to zing with someone very, very, very special. Your soulmate. And zing can only be done once in your lifetime. What's soulmate? Naruto asked curiously, and how do I zing with this person? The vampire sweated before he makes a good decision. Ask your mother. Just push it off to someone else. Okay. Naruto get off Dracula's cape and run off to find his mother. It don't take long enough until the vampire hears some crash, following by, what, shouting and Dracula quickly pick up his pace to avoid his daughter for few hours. It's the first day of vacation season and Mavis can't help but to giggle at her exciting son as he cling onto her leg while glancing at the entrance from time to time. How long, mommy? Naruto asked. Maybe in few minutes or hours, but they said they'll come today. Mavis stroked his hair with a smile and the doors suddenly slam open, following by barking and growls before the children of werewolves run wild around two tired parent as a certain werewolf run over to glomp Naruto. Naruto. Winnie hugged him with wagging tail. I'm back, like I promise. Yeah. Naruto hugged back. I can't wait to play with you again. Oh, and my new friends came yesterday for vacation too and I can't wait to introduce you to them. Oh, what are they like? The werewolf tilted her head and her tail wagged faster at the idea of playing with new people. Before Naruto can open his mouth, his other friends approach them from behind. Hello. You must be Winnie that Naruto told us about. Sabella gave the said werewolf a kind smile before she gestured to herself then to Laguna. My name is Sabella and that is Laguna. Hiya. Laguna waved. Hi. Winnie waved back. I'm Winnie, his best friend. She was about to say more until several familiar adults show up to greet the kids with some unfamiliar faces. Hey, everyone. Frankenstein grinned to everyone before he turned to Naruto. I'm glad to see you doing well. You even made some new friends. Yes, Uncle Frank, I did. Naruto nodded few times. Since you're making friends, I have someone to introduce you to. The Frankenstein's monster stepped aside to reveal a girl around their age. That is Maya and Eunice's daughter, Frankie. Say hello. Hi. Frankie said shyly as she held onto her father's pant leg. She have light green skin with many stitches, long white and black hair, right blue eye, left green eye and pair of giant bolts on side of her neck. She wear a blue dress with blue flats shoe and dozen colorful hair clips that keep her bangs aside. And that is my niece, Toru. Griffin nudged his glasses to a floating small clothes next to him. Sup. Toru waved cheerily. She wear a pink shirt with black long sleeves, blue frilly skirt with black shorts under and pair of white shoes. Here's my daughter, Mokanai the 11th. Murray grinned proudly with his hands on a girl's shoulders as she looked annoyed. I hope you kids will get along with her. Get your dirty gross hands off me. Mokanai tried to push the mummy's hands off. You're getting sands all over me. She has a light dark skin, red eyes and long black hair. She wears bandage wraps all over her limbs, calasiris that end at around her ankles and pair of golden sandals. I hate you. She's going through a phase, he he he. The older mummy laughed sheepishly as most adults stare at him with some amused expression. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen Frankie and Mokanai for a while and they're bigger now. Mavis smiled down to the said girls, do you remember me? No, the young mummy said bluntly with crossed arms. A bit, Frankie said timidly. Nice to meet you all. Naruto said somewhat timidly, we're going to play hide and seek, do you want to join us? Yeah. Toru hopped. Okay, whatever. Mokanai turned her nose up with a whip of her hair, if you do anything bad to me or embarrass me, I will curse you forever. Sure. I'd love to play. Frankie fidgeted with her helm and the children run off without saying a word to the adults. That went pretty well. Dracula appeared with a chuckle while greeting his regular and new guests. Yeah. Wayne agreed before he tapped his chin, I'm surprised to see that Naruto made 2 new friends while we were gone. And he did it on his own. Mavis said proudly, he's getting better. Thanks to you. Wanda smiled. Daddy helped. The vampiress glanced to her father with a smile. A tiny wee bit. The vampire pinched the empty air, you did the most work. Indeed. Eunice clapped her hands, anyway, have you taken some pictures for the album? I want to see it. And we gotta show you what we got. Both older women drag the wide-eyed vampiress away so they can gush over their children and the men stare at them then to each other. Women. The invisible man laughed lightly, earned some eye rolls from his friends. Everyone tuck in. Mavis asked the children with a smile as the kids lie inside their sleeping bag in a circle, facing each other. Naruto and his friends decide they should have a sleepover so they can play all day and night until their bedtime. Everyone confirmed in their own way, good night, everyone. She crouched down to kiss her son's forehead, sleep well, I love you. Night, mommy. Naruto replied with a smile. Night, Mavis. The girls replied and the vampiress exited the bedroom then closed the door after turning the light off, leaving a nightlight on. Okay, she's gone. Toru turned over on her front with an unseen grin, who want to tell scary story? No scary story. Frankie squeaked nervously. Ah, come on, the invisible girl whined. Scary story is stupid. Mokanai said uninterestingly with her chin on plopped arm. And boring. Laguna said, we should sneak out and play in pool, it's empty. No, we are not allowed to go out because it's bedtime. Sabella shook her head as the sea monster pouted childishly, we can go tomorrow. Play catch. Winnie asked, or we can howl at the moon. Oh, how about? Build a fort so we can all sleep together. Naruto suggested. Yes, build a fort. The mummy sits up, I demand it to be majesty. Okay. The giggling sea monster pulled Frankie out of her sleeping bag, come on, let's get the pillows. I'm gonna sleep next to my best friend. The werewolf tossed her sleeping bag next to Naruto's sleeping bag and the children start to build a fort with blankets, chairs and pillows then crawl inside to sleep next to each other. The alarm went off before Mavis turned it off as she sit up with some stretch and she checked the calendar sleepily until she swiftly wake up fully when she see the certain date. Oh. Mavis grinned widely as she quickly take a shower and change into her regular attire before she step out into the hallway and lean slightly to the shrunken head on a certain door. Still sleeping? She asked. Yup. The head grunted out and the smiling vampire quietly enter the room then tiptoe over to bed, her smile widen at the sight of her snoring son. Naruto, sweetie, time to get up. Mavis shake Naruto's shoulder gently as the blonde slowly stir up with some groans. You need to get ready because everyone and the guests are coming today and for your big day. I'm up. Naruto slowly sit up with a big yawn, appear to be 18 and wear black pajamas set with goofy bat nightcap. He let another yawn out as he rubbed some sands out of his eyes and his head turned up to his mother. Hey, mom. Hello, Naruto. The vampiress kissed his cheek, get ready and meet me and your grandpa in the lobby. Okay, mom. The blonde get out of his bed with few stretches and his mother walk out with a smile. Nudge the left side up a bit. Dracula said as the zombie workers fix the birthday banner, left, I said left, my left. A zombie fall off the ladder with a yelp as the vampire facepalm with exhale before he hear footsteps coming down the stairs and he look up to see his daughter. Oh, Mavis. How's my baby claws today? Dad. Please don't call me that. Mavis blushed embarrassingly. I'm not little anymore, I'm too old for that. You're still a little girl to me. The vampire chuckled. Is the birthday boy up? Yup. He'll be down in 10. The vampiress nodded before she examined her surrounding. I love what you're doing to this place. There were a lot of balloons, birthday stuff and banner as she looked at the number. I still can't believe he's turning 18. I feel like he was 7 yesterday. I know how you feel. Dracula smiled down to his daughter until he heard the ringing telephone. Hold on. He went to answer the call. Hello. Yes. That is I. Say what? Zombies on fire. What village? His eyes widened as a flashback went off in his head. So you want us to build a fake village? A monster foreman asked the vampire as the zombie workers slowly build something, a big village? Stores? Houses? The whole inches? Yes, yes, yes. I want you to build a decoy village. Dracula nodded. So I can send my daughter here when she turn 118 then scare her into believing that all human are evil. Oh, okay. The foreman glanced at his workers. Just to let you know, we have zombies building the village, and that will take many years to complete a village. I'm fine with that. The vampire laughed. My daughter is very stubborn like her mother. She want to visit human village and meet humans. There is no way she'll change her mind and remain at the hotel where she will be safe forever. Ha. Oh. Dracula gulped before he cleared his throat with waving hand. Just get rid of the village and come straight back here once you are done.
He hang up and almost at same time, the entrance doors swing open as the guests enter. Oh, welcome to my humble and safest hotel. Thank you for coming. He quickly greeted his guests. Please take an itinerary at front desk. I have personally designed a spectacular schedule of events, all leading to my grandson's birthday extravaganza tomorrow. Suddenly, a sandstorm enters the lobby before a familiar monster pop up with goofy grin.
Here comes the party. Murray shook his body with a cheer. Hello, Murray. The vampire smiled to his mummy friend. Drac. What's up, buddy? The mummy grinned and his friend looks around. The sand, Murray, the sand. Dracula sighed slightly annoyed as the mummy looked sheepish, always with the sand. Hi, Uncle Murray, where's Mokanai? Mavis asked with a smile. She's on her way. Murray replied before they hear some barking and they look over to see Wayne and Wanda walk in with many werewolves pups run around wildly around their feet. Wolfie. Hello, Wayne, Wanda. The older vampire chuckled before he tell the children to reel it in while his daughter greet the older werewolves. It's good to see you guys again. The vampiress smiled before she noticed something. Oh, I don't see Winnie. She's right behind us. Wayne pointed over his shoulder with a sigh as soon as his daughter walks in with bored expression, flipping through magazine in her hands. She appeared to be 18 and have slender athletic body. She wear a black crop top, with white skull, that end few inches above her belly, tattered tight black jean with pair of boots, few piecing on her ears, short mohawk-like hairstyle and black polished nails. Winnie, can you please change into something else, more appropriate? Censored off, old man. Winnie walked by him with a popping gum bubble, censored it back and then chew it again. Ooh, I don't know where I went wrong here, the father sighed. Hey, cheer up. Murray threw his arm around the werewolf's shoulder. At least your daughter is talking to you because mine don't. His daughter showed up with uncaring expression. Watch. Hey, baby girl, dig your look. I'm lovin' it, girl. Mokanai just gave him a talk to the hand gesture as she walked past the group without saying a word. She wear off-the-shoulder black dress that end at her thighs, golden sandals and bunch of elegant jewelries. See? He grinned to Wayne before he suddenly sobbed on his shoulder. Oh. My baby girl hate my guts. And I don't have a gut. So does my little girl. Wayne also sobbed on his shoulder and they hug each other as their family and friends just watch on with various expressions, mostly amused because they always went through that almost every time. Before they know it, 3 familiar faces show up together and Mavis immediately greets them. Frankie, Laguna, Sabella, it's good to see you 3. The vampiress smiled to the said girls. Likewise. Sabella replied kindly. She has an attractive slender body with well-endowed bust and wears similar outfit but with low V-cut, red lipstick and green eyeshades. You look like you're doing well. Yo. Laguna waved, She have long wavy hair and appear to be very fit. She wear a dark pink small hoodie over gray loose t-shirt with fishnet sleeves, navy hot shorts with pink trim, a blue bracelet and pair of dark blue high heel wedge sneakers. "Hi, Mavis," Frankie said cheerily. "Is Naruto up or sleeping in as usual?" She has long flowy hair with her bangs comb over her head and has slender yet curvy body. She wear a red lipstick, golden earrings, blue sleeveless shirt with white collar, several gray belts, flora patterned skirt that end at her thighs and pair of black high heel sneakers with yellow laces. "He'll be down in few," Mavis replied. "Where are your parents, Frankie?" Dracula asked before the stack of boxes suddenly appear in middle of the lobby and the top box fall down with some grunts noise until a head flew out into the vampire's hands. "Ah, Frank, my boy." He grinned down to Frank's head as the Frankenstein's monster grinned back. "Look at you. Still traveling by mail, Mr. Cheapo, huh?" "It's not a money thing," Frank said. "I have a plane phobia. Okay. I mean, at any moment, those engine would catch on fire. Yeah. The vampire chuckled before he suddenly tossed the head up with a yelp. "Who pinched me?" Murray caught Frank's head before the grinning mummy went to open the boxes to help putting his friend back together along with Eunice, who was complaining about the shipping. "Guilty." The floating glasses appear with a chuckle. "You're irresistible." "Yes. Very amusing, invisible man," Dracula replied. "Hello." Griffin snickered. "Great to see you. Never gets old." The vampire rolled his eyes. "Hey, girls." Toru suddenly threw her arms around Frankie, Laguna and Sabella as they almost fall down but managed to support the invisible girl up. "I totes miss you girls." She wear a pink and gray striped shirt with white hot shorts and white sneakers. "We miss you too." Sabella smiled. "We just saw each other, like, only 6 months ago," Winnie said dully, blowing her gum out. "It feel like forever to me." The invisible girl pouted. "I miss my girls and our eye candy." Some of friends rolled their eyes at her. Toru really liked to tease Naruto from time to time and always call him either stud or eye candy. "I'm glad you all are here to celebrate another birthday for my sweet little boy." Mavis smiled to her surrogate family and friends. "And another successful year of refuge from them," Dracula said before he flew over to a projector screen, then show some monsters picture of humans and make some silly accusation about current humans like getting fatter to overpower monsters and wear less clothing for more movement. "Hey, guys." Naruto came down the stairs with a wave, wearing an orange t-shirt, navy jean and pair of black sneakers. "I'm glad you all are here. How was your trail?" "Hey, stud." Toru glomp him. "I miss you so much." "I miss you too." He hugged back with a chuckle before he released her to hug some of his friends. "I bet you all are starving from long trip. I'm gonna get old Hunchback to whip some foods up." He paused for a second. "Hold on for a second. I'll whip some up for you guys instead." Naruto turned to look at his mother. "Is that okay?" "Yes, go ahead." Mavis shoo him with a smile. "Go catch up with your friends, but remember to meet us here in 30 minutes. So we can start our fun day." "Okay, Mom." Naruto hugged his mother before he walked off with his friends, and Mokanai gave him a quick sneak hug behind their friends, drawing a small chuckle out from him. The vampiress stared at the group with some worry as they vanish around the corner. "I hope my baby don't zing with one of them. I'm not ready for him to grow up yet. Like her father, she has become overprotective of her son lately." "It's going to be okay." Eunice patted her head. "He will always still be your little boy. And if he has zinged with one of them, we should know," Wanda said, and Mavis nodded slowly. "I hope it's Sabella." Dracula think to himself, "She's very sweet and kind girl that his grandson deserve. Bonus, she's a vampire." "Maybe it's Toru." Griffin hummed. His niece almost flirt with Naruto all the time and always jumped for a chance to hang out with him. "Our Laguna. The sea monster is very outgoing and he have seen them hanging out almost as much as Toru does. She does have good chemistry with him. Please let it be my daughter." Wayne begged inside his head. "With Naruto, she must revert back to my sweet little girl like she used to be. Please make him zing with my baby girl." Murray crossed his fingers, knowing him. He will do something to make her to talk to me again. Plus, he's the only guy the first approved to be with my baby girl. "Gosh. I hope it's Frankie." Frank smiled. They look perfect together. Almost everyone turned sharply to him with various expressions, mostly gawking and glares. "What?" He raised his eyebrow at them. Okay. Let get you all check in and go to your rooms." Dracula steps in with nervous laughter before he beckons the bellhops to carry his guests' luggage up to their rooms, and he has Mavis helping out at front desk. Some time went by as Dracula looked around in lobby, taking pride in his work and how relaxing his guests are. Perfect as always. The vampire smiled widely, and it'll be more perfect tomorrow. Nothing can ruin another successful year of my 5-star hotel. He suddenly froze with widened eyes as a figure entered the lobby through the revolving door and looked around in awe. This figure is clearly a human. And the monsters don't notice its existence yet. Dracula quickly flew toward this human, and he only have short time to look at its appearance. Whoa. The human said amazingly, appear to be a female and in late teenager or young adult. She's a tall, skinny, yet attractive girl with long red hair that reaches to her hip, green eyes and freckles. She wear tan lumberjack hat, green flannel shirt over white tank top, blue jean, pair of muddy rain boots, and she carry a largest oversized backpack. That is all. She never get a chance to finish her sentence when Dracula tackle her into the revolving door, spinning around faster. Who are you? Dracula questioned her alertly and worried, and how did you find this place? I'm Wendy Corduroy. The human said relaxingly with half-lidded eyes as if she's not bothered by the whole thing, and I was just mountain climbing with some dudes, and heard this story about a spooky forest. She shrugged, and who's not going to go into a spooky forest, right? So, then I see these goofy-looking dudes on fire. And Elle just kind of followed them to this, like, amazing castle. Fire? The vampire was confusing until he remembers something. Oh, and one more thing. The monster foreman said to the vampire, no bonfire. No fireworks. No fire. Because that would attract some attentions and you don't want to lead humans back if that happens. Okay, get it. Dracula waved it off with a snort. I would never set the fake village on fire, neither led humans back to the hotel. How many of you are there? Dracula hissed with widened eyes. Just me. Wendy replied, solo backpacking. Elle like to hit it alone. You meet so many awesome people in the youth hostels. She grinned, hey, speaking of awesome, that cape thing is killing it. Is there, like, a costume party here? Or are you guys, like, real monsters? That's pretty cool. Because back home, we have a lot of weird things going on like. What have Elle done? The vampire said to himself, not hearing her last sentences. This is all my fault. You have to leave. He tried to push her outside until he noticed more guests heading toward the hotel. Oh, no. The vampire threw his cape around the human as he pushed her inside, then through the crowd while looking around for any place to hide this human. Excuse me. He said to some guests as he pushed through them, and there were some guests coming up to him to ask about something, which he managed to redirect them to Mavis for answers. He managed to avoid Griffin by knocking his glasses off, and the vampire swiftly hid the human and himself inside a supply closet. Wow. The human girl said sarcastically, this room's kind of small for a big castle. No bed, but check out these awesome dustpans they give you. Quiet, you fool. Dracula snatched the backpack from her, then dig around inside. What weapons are you keeping in this container? Your pitchforks. He pulls out an shirt, then gag as soon as the stench reach his nose. Elle can't breathe. It's killing me. Yeah. Definitely due for a fluff and fold. Wendy took it back with a nod. What is this? He took out an iPod with earbuds, a torture device. A secret mind controller. You won't read my thoughts. Elle won't let you. Dude, it's just music. She pushed earbuds into the bewildered vampire's ears. Here, try it. She play the music. It's taking my soul. Dracula screamed out, yanking buds out of his ears. What? Wendy arched her eyebrow at him amusingly. It's a good jam. Don't be a grandpa. You need to go. His face invades her personal space, then he stands straight up with index finger up in air. No human has ever entered this castle. And if someone should see you, the safety of the hotel, the sanctuary, no one would ever come again. Yeah, go for it. She pumped her fist. Ever come again? I love your Dracula voice. It's so over the top. And Mavis, Dracula said before the door opened to reveal Mavis, causing him to yelp out from startle. Daddy. Why are you in closet? Mavis raised her eyebrow at him before she noticed someone else. And who are you, W.I.? She gasped with widened eyes. A human. Hey. Wendy waved and the vampire swiftly pulls his daughter inside, closing the door with a slam. Don't freak out, Mavis. Dracula hissed to his daughter, Daddy'll take care of that. How? The vampiress hissed back lowly. There is a human in our hotel. A human, other than Naruto. Who's Naruto? The human girl glanced between them. A roommate. I don't mind sharing. I mean, I have bunch of brothers. You need to get her out of here right now. Mavis gritted her teeth, or I'm going to. I can't kill her. Dracula muttered under his breath as his growling daughter glared hateful at Wendy. It would set monsters back hundreds of years. He notices that Wendy was babbling on about something. What are you babbling about? Seriously, I'm totally digging your costumes. Wendy glanced at their appearances. Until you're real, that would explain things. Costumes. The vampire blinked, then shared a look with his daughter before they look around in the closet and they turn back to the redhead. What? Wendy raised her eyebrow at them. Mavis peek out behind the closet's door. All clear. Go. Go. The vampires step out with Wendy, who wears an oversized jacket, tall stick-up wig, and her skin have been painted green with some crude, stitched drawings. Dracula, I need to talk to you about the party foods. Quasimodo appeared. Yes, what is it? Dracula screeched, subtly shooing his daughter behind his back, and the vampiress pushed Wendy toward the revolving door. Did he call your dad Dracula? Wendy asked her curiously. Does that mean your dad is Dracula, like, the Dracula? Shut up. Mavis hissed angrily. Nice. The redhead whistled unfazed. I bet you're awesome like your old man. And the vampiress accidentally tripped Wendy over a suitcase and the redhead ended up grabbing a witch's broom before it took off, dragging the yelping redhead up in air. Whoa, whoa. Wendy screamed out as she zoomed around in the lobby while knocking things over. How do you break this thing? What's going on? Naruto jogged into the lobby. I hear some crashing. The screaming redhead accidentally crashed into him, knocking him off his feet and the broom fly away as both teenagers groan out in pain. Ow, sorry. Wendy stumbled up to her feet with hand on her head before she reached down to him. You alright, dude? It's okay, I'm fine. The blonde grabbed her hand to get up. It'll take more than Rouge Broom to. He looked into her eyes. Keep me down. Unknown to them, their eyes flashing pink before they blink rapidly. Hey? Hey. The redhead can't help but to grin dumbly until she realized something. Oh, sorry. My name's Naruto. Sweetie, are you alright? Mavis quickly appeared at their side, fussing over her son worriedly. Yes, I'm okay, Mom. Naruto replied, kinda feel something weird. Mom? Wendy blinked between them. Adopted. The blonde chuckled as the redhead blinked again before he turned to his mother. Who is that? Who is what? The vampiress asked him before he pointed to the redhead. Oh, that is nobody. Really, Mom? Naruto put hands on his hip with raised eyebrow. Oh, they are real monsters. Wendy snapped her fingers in realization. Cool, but isn't he a human too? Okay, we got to go. Dracula pop up. We need to get. He immediately see his grandson, Naruto. Hello. Hi, Grandpa. The blonde chuckled puzzlingly at his sweating grandpa. What get you all bothered? Did Bigfoot clog the toilet again? I totally know it. Bigfoot is real. The redhead smirked before she looked up to Dracula. So you don't really drink human blood? Human blood is so fatty, and you never know where it has been. Dracula huffed at classic human paranoid. We drink blood substitute. Anyway, who's she? Naruto asked. New guest. I'm Wendy, the redhead said before the vampires cut in. Wendy Steen. Mavis said hastily. And she's the party planner. The vampire sweated before both vampires froze, then turned to each other. Wendy Steen? Party planner? The vampiress hissed under her breath. Oh, so you're here to planning my birthday party. The blonde turned to the redhead. Cool, nice to meet you. Do you want to hang out? For sure. Wendy grinned before Dracula quickly pulled the redhead away from him into the corridor. We're off to make some good plan for your birthday, Naruto, my boy. Dracula laughed nervously over his shoulders and Naruto turned to his mother with a raised eyebrow. What's up with Grandpa and you? He asked. Oh. Mavis suddenly drags him in other direction. We had to do some interview with the bands and pick out what you like to play for the party tomorrow. So, Naruto leaned over the comfy bench's headrest to look at his childhood friends. Why are uncles fighting Mozart, Beethoven and Bach? He glanced to the zombie musicians getting attacked by Frank, Griffin, Murray and Wayne. They're just being moronic clowns. Mokanai buffed her nails, censoring idiot. What she said. Winnie popped her gum. cutting into the table with her index claw to drawing a skull pattern.
They want to practice their number but the musicians refuse to get off the stage so, Laguna chuckled as Frank swings sacks at Bach like a baseball bat.
Listen to that, you deaf bastard. Murray smashed a drum set on Beethoven's head. Can you hear it? Can you? No, no, bad dog, bad dog. Mozart whack a flute on Wayne's head as the werewolf gnaws on his leg bone and Griffin was holding him in headlock. Oh, dear. Sabella watched on with some concern. Maybe I should step in and try to calm them down. Not yet. Toru hold her arm out to block the vampire, it's starting to get fun. Anyway, I heard from Dad that your grandpa hired a party planner for your birthday. Frankie looked up to the blonde. Have you met her yet? Yeah, I did. Naruto said, she looked pretty nice and chilling but I don't know much because we just met for couple minutes. He hummed, I hope I see her again sooner. I have a good feeling you won't see, Mavis said before the wall part away to reveal Dracula and Wendy as they blink at the fighting monsters. Wah, she turn around. Oh. Naruto, let's go. She blinked at empty space before she turned around to see her son approaching the redhead while Dracula asked his friends why they were fighting. Hi, Wendystein. The blonde smiled widely. Oh, hey, Naruto. Wendy smiled back before she jabbed her thumb at the bands. Still looking for bands to jam up for your b-day? Yeah. Naruto replied amusingly, due to her word's choice. Everyone wants to do it old school but my friends and I want something a little more, new school, you know? Yup, I get you. The smirking redhead nodded with crossed arms. I can recommend some sweet music and see if it can get your groovy going. I bet you get a lot of ideas since you're a party planner, he chuckled. Oh, right. Wendy nodded after a short pause. Dracula have informed her that humans, beside Naruto, are unwelcome in this place because the monsters fear them and that bring up some questions. The redhead decide to play along with it, for now. Say, your birthday is tomorrow, right? How old will you be? 18. Naruto answered. Nice, I'm 19. The redhead grinned. Say, may I ask you something? The blonde tapped his chin curiously. Any relation to Frankenstein's monster? Oh, I'm the Frankenstein's monster. Wendy lied. No, you're not. Naruto chuckled before he pointed to the real monster as he punched Bach's head off. My uncle over there is the Frankenstein's monster. Oh, this big gentleman over there. The redhead blinked. She met him with the others early and didn't know that he is the Frankenstein's monster. I'm his cousin.
Really? Frank immediately appears near them with a raised eyebrow as his friends approach behind them.
Yup. My right hand is cousin of your right arm. Wendy came up on spot. Whoa, really? The Frankenstein's monster lift his hand up as it wiggled before he grinned widely. Nice to meet you, arm cousin. Dad. Why is she still here? Mavis zoomed up to her father's side with a low hissing whisper, her brows furrowed angrily. I thought you were going to smuggle her out. Well. Why you see. Dracula giggled nervously under his daughter's fury as his hands kept pointing at random things. IWWW was going to. BB but we ran into them so. We went into the escape tunnel. But, he turned around few times, we got lost. But it's not my fault because it have been long time since I went down there. Not to mention how confusing things can get with all secret switches. I mean, how many do we have? He pointed to the redhead as she chatted with his friends and Naruto, and she doesn't want to leave without her backpack. So, his daughter grabs his collar to pull him down to her eye level. I don't care about some stupid backpack. The vampiress hissed with bloodshot eyes, get this stupid human girl out of here immediately. The longer she stay here, the more risky it get. She turned her head to the redhead, and she'll end up hurting my little baby. Okie dokie. The vampire gulped nervously, his little girl sure take after his father and that's a little scary. Alright, guys, show me what you get. Wendy clapped her hands as she looked to Dracula's friends and they start playing music for a few minutes. She cupped her chin with a hum. I find your musical talents pretty good, but it's kinda little old school. Can I borrow that? She gestured to Murray's guitar and the mummy handed over to her. Then the redhead start to play a rock song, which draw crowd and impress most at same time. Woo, thank you very much. She grinned to the applauding monsters before she turned to Naruto. So what do you think of that? I think it's really amazing. Naruto said, I really can't wait to see what you set up for the party tomorrow. You should join and help us out with music. Murray grinned. And games. Griffin nodded. And foods. Wayne grinned. Everything. Frank agreed, and many monsters want her to help them out with certain stuffs until Dracula pop up between Wendy and the group. Guys, do I have to remind you all that we have a schedule to follow? Dracula said, it's almost time for. Relax, Grandpa. Naruto cut him off with a light chuckle, we still have some time before the first activity. He turned to the redhead, hey, Wendystein, you should join us. Most monsters agreed with him, what do you say? I'm totally in. Wendy grinned as she threw her arm around his shoulder and they walk away with some monsters, chatting a bit about upcoming activities. Great. The vampire deadpanned with groan before he turned to face his fuming scowling daughter. I'm working on it. Mavis turns around then stomp away from him with crossed arms. With the humans, Naruto led Wendy to his friends at table and his friends look at their close contact with different expressions and emotions. Wendystein, those are my best friends. He introduced each girl, that is Winnie, Sabella, Laguna, Toru, Mokanai and Frankie. Guys, that is Wendystein. Hey, how's it going? The redhead raised her hand up to them. Yo. Toru replied. Hi. Winnie grunted with a soft growl and Mokanai just swat her hand uncaringly as her greeting. Hey, ghoul. Laguna greeted and Frankie waved with a smile. Hello. Nice to meet you. Sabella smiled, you must be the party planner we have heard about. The redhead nodded, fantastic. I can't wait to see how you'll handle the party tomorrow. It'll be off the hook. Wendy grinned before her stomach rumbled loudly, causing everyone to look at her. Right, I forget I haven't eaten anything all day. She scratched her cheek sheepishly. I'll get you something from the kitchen. Naruto, get up, you're fine with everything or? I'm good with anything, no allergies. The grinning redhead waves it off and the blonde nod at that as he walked to the kitchen before she turned back to the girls. So, how long have you guys known Naruto for? About 12 years altogether. The busty vampire tapped her chin with a thoughtful hum. Whoa, that long? Wendy whistled. Did you all meet him at same time or? Within a year. Sabella said as she gestured to her friends, we also met each other in this year. Cool. The redhead placed her chin on her hand with elbow on table. I bet you girls get some stories growing up here with Naruto, eh? Totally. The invisible girl chirped. I have a funny story about how Naruto turned one of Underground Hall into a pool by flooding it for his prank. Oh, do tell. Wendy leaned closer with an eager smirk and the girls share some stories with some small talk in between. Bingo then charades. The redhead sprawling out on bencher with Naruto and his friends, I'm sorry, but that is boring AF. AF? Frankie tilted her head confusingly. Grandpa and Mom enjoy them so. Naruto rubbed his head with a shrug, also seems to be bored. Oh, hold on. Wendy dig into her backpack that she finally get back from Dracula before she pull out a folded scooter. Flick it open then perform some tricks and several monsters gather in front of her with fascination. She let them try it out and it was pretty hilarious to Naruto when Murray ride it around like tricycle to Mokanai's chagrin and Winnie's young siblings pile on it then the Bigfoot try it out, only to fall on a zombie server. It ends when an elderly female gremlin ate it. I don't do it. The gremlin smiled innocently. Good thing I have a spare. The redhead said flatly before she laughed with her new friends. Aren't you going to do something about her? Mavis hissed to her father furiously as they stand at the poolside while Mr. Fly led an aquatic exercise class. She is still here. She glared at the laughing redhead as she chat with Naruto and some of their friends. I'm working on it. Dracula replied. Yeah, right. The vampiress grumbled, if you don't do anything about it sooner then I'll take it into my hands. I'll have her out by morning. The vampire shushed her with his swaying hands, trust your daddy. His daughter inhaled deeply then snatched a sandwich from a waiter's tray, tearing it in half with her teeth while glaring at the redhead heatedly. And I have been to Taj Mahal. Wendy was telling them about her backpacking travel. Wow. That sounds very amazing. Naruto said with some nodding monsters before he paused for a second. What's Taj Mahal? It's one of the famous place in the world and it's in India. The redhead explained simply, it's really beautiful that I can't put it in words, you should have go there and see it. Out there. The blonde blinked with some worries before he rubbed his neck, I'll think about it. If you're going for it, let me know. Wendy put her hand on his shoulder, I'll come with you and show you some sweet spots in India. Together. Her comment draws a smile from him. She's awfully getting too close with him. Winnie popped her gum with narrowed eyes as she sit at other table with her friends. I don't like it. I don't see it. Frankie said. They're just talking and be friendly. She watched Wendy tease Naruto about something as he blushed lightly, very friendly. I'm jealous. Toru said bluntly. My cute stud is getting all chummy with some strangers. Yup. Laguna muttered. Oh, don't be like that, girls. Sabella smiled to other girls. I'm certain your imagination is getting ahead of you. Take a look at them and say that to us. The sea monster pointed out. You haven't looked at them since we sit down. The busty vampire avert her eyes. You're all being so overdramatic. Mokanai fixed her hair up with her handheld mirror nonchalantly. It's not the first time that some girl flirt with him and it won't be the last time. She glanced to her friends dully. I mean, most of us have flirt with him from time to time. There was a loud pop and several stutters. It's no secret to each other that they have feeling for their only male friend since they are very close. No way. Wendy laughed at the blonde's story. You actually shave Wayne bald and honey and feathered him? Yeah, I did. Naruto chuckled, and after that, I dumped paint all over Griffin in front of everyone. Let's say I traumatized some guests after that. He paused to chuckle again. Boy, I was really wild one back then. Well, not wild as, The redhead spot Dracula from the corner of her eyes and the vampire was telling her something with gestures and mouthing. The vampire was telling her to fake a back injury and come to see Dracula for some party plan, but of course, Wendy have no idea what he was saying and there was some miscommunication. Chicken fight? What chicken fight? The blonde raised his eyebrow with some guests before he looked around. Did the chickens escape again? Chicken fight. Wendy stood up with a wide grin before she grabbed Naruto's hand, then pulled him toward the pool. Come on. We're gonna have fun playing chicken fight. Her hand is so warm and soft. Naruto blushed as she held his hand. He don't know why he want to get close to her as fast as he can or his heart was beating faster. Neither why his eyes kept look to her rear. The red one-piece swimsuit fill her body out. The teenagers jump into the pool and before he know it, the redhead lift him up with her shoulders. Guys, copy us. The redhead hollered out to the monsters. We're playing chicken fight. The one on top have to push other top guy off. You lose if you fall in water. The monsters stared at each other before they eagerly start the game. Naruto, push this guy back. She gestured to the players in front of them. Do it. Do it. The blonde push a monster guest back as the creature fall into water with a laughter and she hold her hand out. Alright, gimme low 5. That is kinda fun. The laughing blonde smack her hand then pushing other person off while his partners support him up until he get pushed back into the water before he suddenly lift the laughing redhead up on his shoulders and the monsters wrestle with each other in the pool, laughing and enjoying the new game. No, stop. Dracula waved his arms frantically as he looked at the pure chaos in horror. Halt this game. You're going to get hurt. I commend you to cease immediately. Someone splashed water all over him and he looks unpleased by that until his eyes widened as soon as he noticed that Wendy's paint was slowly wash off. Before he know it, the vampire fall into the pool and he spot the plug on floor before he swim toward it then pull it out, draining the water. There. He lift his head out of the water as it went down. Wendystein. I need you for. He looked around puzzlingly. Wendystein? Cannonball. The vampire looked up sharply to see Wendy jumping off the high diving board and he want to know how the hell did she get up there so fast. Ah. The vampire froze the human girl in midair then push a blob monster under her before he snap his fingers, causing the redhead to land inside the blob monster. Come on, Wendystein. Dracula yank her out of the blob monster. Get change and help me planning the party. He dragged the redhead out of the pool zone and Naruto get out of pool as he shakes some water out of his hair, looking over some guests to look for his new friend. Naruto, it's time for dinner. Mavis jumped into his view with a big smile. I made your favorite foods and everyone are joining us. Really? Naruto looked down to his mother with a grin. Even Wendystein? No. The vampiress shouted angrily as her son jumped up before she quickly cleared her throat with sweet gentle expression. I mean, no, sweetie, she can't join us for dinner because she still have to work on your party. Oh. Okay. The blonde said somewhat disappointing as he picked a towel up to dry himself off and his mother catch it. What's wrong? Mavis asked worriedly. Nothing. Naruto waved it off. It don't sound like nothing. She moved in front of him to look into his eyes. You can tell your mommy anything. Please tell me what's wrong. Well, I was hoping to invite Wendystein to our dinner. He said, I want to hear more about her adventures. More about, He hummed softly, her. Her? Mavis bit her lower lip nervously. Do you, like Wendy Steen? Do I like her? Naruto repeated her question thoughtful. I think so. She's fun, cute and pretty. He never noticed his mother cringed. I want to spend more time with her and I don't know why. It feel like, we clicked, you know what I mean? I see, the vampiress mumbled. Well, it's quite shame that she won't join us for dinner. She led her son to the hotel as she wrestled with herself internally. But she's a human. A evil human who will hurt my baby boy like the others. Mavis sneaks a glance at her son. And what if she'll take him away from me? I can't let that happen. I can't let my son rejoin the humans. My baby have to remain here, he's safer here. She will do everything to protect him from any harms and women. After dinner, Naruto was wandering around outside the hotel and cemetery until he spotted a familiar red hair in distance and his eyes lit up. Wendy was pacing around with a grumble. Can't believe Drac kicked me out for living everything up. The place was dead and would have get more dead-er if I haven't show up. Hey, Wendy Steen. Naruto pop out behind the tree, causing the redhead to jump up with a yelp before she glare at him playful with pout as he laughed. Not funny, you almost give me a heart attack. Wendy smacked his arm playfully. Heart attack, good one. The blonde laughed again as the redhead blinked confusingly until she remembers she's disguised as Frankenstein's monster. Anyway, what bring you out here? Just taking a walk. The redhead replied, you? Same. Naruto said before he snapped his fingers. Oh. I get to show you something cool, come on. He beckoned her to follow him back to the hotel and she followed without any hesitance. Where are we going? Wendy asked curiously. You'll see. Naruto smirked before he climbed the stone wall all the way up to the rooftop, following by the redhead, and they walked to a spot on roof near a chimney. What do you think? He gestured to the landscape. Oh, wow. The redhead looked at the sight in amazement. It does look beautiful to her and forest reminds her of her hometown. Nice, right? The grinning blonde sit down as the redhead sit down with a nod. My mom took me up here when I was little and I come up here from time to time since then. That's lovely. Wendy replied before she tilted her head at him curiously. So, how does a human like you end up raised by vampires and living in a monster-only hotel? If you don't mind me asking? My mom found me in forest when I was 6 and took me in few weeks later. Naruto answered. What were you doing out in woods? She asked. You don't know? He looked at her with a surprised blink. I thought most monsters know about that by now. Wendy raised her eyebrow puzzlingly. Oh, Naruto rubbed his neck awkwardly with uneasy expression as if he was debating with himself internally. You don't have to talk about that if you're not up for it. Wendy placed her hand on his shoulder when she noticed his discomfort. But it's okay. Naruto placed his hand atop on her hand with a small smile. It's just, I really don't talk much about it with anyone but my mom and my friends only know a bit about it. He sighs out, when mom found me, I was dying and should have died if she hasn't. A mob of humans were harming and beat me with many things then leave me there for dead. Before that, they keep me in a small dark room for who know how long, starving and beat me around from time to time until this day. He paused to take a breath as the redhead listens quietly. Mom nursed me back to health and she gives me a childhood that I never thought I'd never have. Since then, I have been living here my whole life and the rest is history. Wow. The redhead uttered, she really has no idea what he went through and she doesn't want to ask him more details about it. That kinda explain everything. Now she understand why Mavis hate her. Wendy is not an idiot because she have noticed Mavis' glares and behavior toward the redhead. What happened to these humans who hurt you? I don't know. Naruto replied. And you never leave this place, right? Wendy said. Do you ever think about going out there? Like at all? Sometime, but, he wet his lips, the humans, not all humans are bad, you know. The redhead said, you're a human and a good one so that mean there are more like you out there. If any bad humans try to have problem with a good human, they'll get arrested or be punished for it. Really? Naruto tilted his head to her. Yup. Wendy reached inside her pant pocket, and if you're going out there, you can see, she pull out an odd flat device then show him pictures of some places, that is the Great Pyramid of Giza. She swipe her finger on the screen to change a picture, and that is London, here is the Big Ben. And that is Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. Whoa. The blonde looked at the pictures amazingly before he looked over the strange device. And what is this flat thingy? How do you change photos like that? Magic. Mini projection. You have never seen a smartphone before. The redhead turned her head to face him with an amusing smirk. She's not really surprised to hear that from him because everything in this hotel are so old school, like they come from 50s, give or take. Smartphone. Naruto turned his head to her puzzlingly. How can you make a phone smarter? Technology. Wendy replied as she glanced at his lips. Their faces were too close. There's a whole new world out there. Yeah? He uttered as his head slowly leaned closer to her. Yeah, she smirked, moving her head forward slowly, and they were about to kiss, but, whoa. Wendy suddenly falls down through the roof and Naruto blinked rapidly before he looks inside with concern. To turn some time back, Mavis was sitting in a female sauna room with Naruto's friends and she was covering her face with some mumbles. The vampires really have no idea how to handle the news and what to do in this situation. When's Wendystein is going to be done with party planning? Laguna asked curiously. I want to hang out more with her. Yeah, she's really wild in a fun way. Toru agreed, not to mention all stories she get. And it's really nice to see Naruto hitting it off well with her, Sabella said. Who's hitting what off? Mavis lifted her face up from her hands. No, please. She snorted. I am not going to hand him off to someone else, and if I do, Naruto could never be with someone of her kind. Her kind? Frankie looked at the older vampiress appallingly. I'm sorry, what? I'm not awakened that you have some issues with. No, I meant, the black-haired vampiress waved her hands frantically as soon as she realized that Wendy is disguised as a monster. Naruto wouldn't be into someone with red hair. Wha? The invisible girl gasped. Excuse me? What's wrong with red hair? Why are you so upset? Mavis asked. Because I have red hair. Toru half shouted. How should I know? The ravenette vampiress threw her hands up. You're invisible. Unknown to her, her father was going through similar experience with his friends in male sauna room at the moment. She waved her hands. Anyway, it's pointless to think about that now because Wendystein left. She left? Mokanai raised her eyebrow lightly. Yes, she decides she don't like. Mavis shrugged her shoulders before Wendy suddenly fall down on floor from the ceiling and everyone looked down at the groaning redhead as she sit up. Wendy looked around with hand on her head before she gave Mavis a sheepish grin. Hi? Guess she changed her mind. Winnie blew her gum and Mavis stared at redhead blankly with tight frown. The redhead was pushed out of the sauna room into Dracula's hands and the furious vampire have no choice but to have the redhead help him out with tables in dining hall. Dracula run down the hallway with desperation. He was having fun with Wendy in the dining hall with the flying tables until Quasimodo kidnapped her under his nose and he have to stop the mad hunchback before it's too late. He turned around the right corner and farther until he nearly collided into someone before he looked down to see Naruto. Dracula gasped in surprise as the said teenager blinked at him. Why are you still up? The sun is out. You usually sleep until nighttime. Can't sleep. Naruto shrugged his shoulders before he looked up to his grandpa. Do you know where Wendystein went? I don't know. The vampire stuttered. He paused for a moment before his brow arched with suspicion. Why do you want to know? Oh, the blonde scratched his head bashfully. Well. Do you like her? Dracula asked. First mom, now you. Naruto coughed into his fist. You guys kept asking me if I like her. Well, maybe. She's so funny, adorable and pretty. The vampire holds his hand up to him. Hold that. He quickly whispers something to the living armor suit, then back to his grandson. Look, Sonny, there's no falling in love at your age. That's what your mother would say. Grandpa, you and mom know at some point, I'm going to get married. The blonde said, and I can't be here forever. What? Dracula uttered, but why all the sudden interest? Every time we used to talk about love, it was always, ooh, grandpa, that's gross and, ooh, grandpa, girls have cooties. Actually, you push me off to mom like almost all the time. Naruto chuckled lightly as he remembers the first time he asked his grandpa about Zing and he always tells him to ask Mavis. Oh, right. The vampire muttered with shifty eyes before he leaned closer to the whispering armor suit before he turned back to his grandson. I'm sorry, Sonny. I have to go. He ran off, leaving the confusing blonde behind. Okay? Naruto shrugged before he resumes his wandering. Phew, Wendy breathed out. She can't believe that she almost got cooked by a crazed hunchback chef until Dracula come to her rescue, and after that, Dracula show her the picture of Lady Labov, who turned out to be his wife, and the true story behind the Labov legend. Their conversation was pretty heavy than she thought, then they share some jokes to light things up. At least Dracula decide to let her stay for one more day so she can be at Naruto's birthday party. Speaking of party, I wonder if they have some fireworks around. She hummed until she turned around the corner to see Mavis and the vampiress stare squarely into her eyes. Oh, hey, Wendy flicked her index finger to opposite hallway. I'm going this way, so I'll be. You. Mavis inhaled deeply, then exhales out heavily before she spin around on her heels as she walked down the hallway. Come with me. To where? The redhead followed her. If it's to send me out, your old man gives me permission to stay here until after party. I know. The vampiress said flatly and said nothing else for a while until they enter a room. Where are we? Wendy asked, glancing around at what appeared to be a luxury bedroom. Your room. Yes. Mavis take a thick album from a bookshelf, then put it next to folder on table before she sit down in a chair as she turned to the redhead. Sit down. The redhead obeyed her because she doesn't want to anger the vampiress any farther. Take a good look at these pictures. Mavis opened the album, then take some pictures out, tossing them over to the redhead, and Wendy examined them to discover that they were childhood photos of Naruto. Each picture have little boy hide behind, cling to or hugging Mavis tightly. Ah, is that Naruto when he's little? The redhead cooed. He's so cute. Look like he's a very shy boy back then, huh? Is that what it looked like to you? The vampiress replied stoically. Wendy blinked at her, then looks closer to the pictures before she gives the vampire a nod. Yeah, he looked pretty shy. He was very afraid and scared of everything. Mavis growled as she leaned up on table, and that is all because of you evil humans. She opened the folder to reveal Naruto's medical chart with picture of a bandaged boy in medical bed. To the shocked redhead. You all did horrible, horrible thing to my sweet innocent boy, and I will never forgive you humans for that. I make a promise to my son that I will never let another human hurt him again, and I intend to keep it. Her eyes flashed red as she bare her fangs. I will not let you hurt him, not again. Whoa, whoa. The redhead held her hands up, like I would do that. Just because some humans attacked him does not mean all humans are evil and out to get him. I'd rather be dead than hurt him. Mavis smashed her fist on table with a snarling hiss. Really, there are good humans. Your son is a human, right? Does that make him evil? No, he's a good person, and that mean there are good ones out there. I mean, you have some good monsters and bad monsters, and you can't judge a whole race for one's act. Right? It's pretty much same like humans. Whoever did that to him should be arrested and judged for their crime. The vampire kept growled with gritted teeth. I really mean it. I would never ever hurt him because she take a deep breath. I love him. You. The vampiress inhaled with a hiss before she suddenly plopped down in her chair with a sharp sigh. Her breath becomes shakily. I can't let my son leave. He's safe here. I get it. You want to protect your son. Wendy said. I'm pretty sure that what happened to him will never happen again because. Can you say that when the humans find out that one of their own kind have been raised by monsters, or that he will never be in danger from humans? Mavis looked up to her sadly with some concern. Can you? The redhead opens her mouth before she close it. Yes, that's what I thought. She sighed. Look, while you seem to be a decent human, I can't let my son leave the hotel where he can be safe for the rest of his life. I want my baby to stay here with me and everyone, his family. I get it. The redhead nodded solemnly. Family gotta stick together through everything. I got that. It's same with my family. She licked her dry lips. I'd never do anything to affect his decisions. You sure? The vampiress gazed at her as the redhead nodded before she sighed out. All right, fine. I will try my best not to give you some hard time while you spend some time with Naruto and have fun at his party. Thank. Wendy smiled lightly as she closed the medical folder. Say, can I take a look at some photos in this album? She's very curious about how her crush grew up with a monster family in a hotel. Sure. Mavis tucked the photos back into her album, then allows the redhead to flip some pages to look at some more pictures. Winnie applied black eyeshadow to her face as she ignored her howling siblings and screaming parent in background, wearing a goth raving outfit. Frankie, Laguna and Toru gossip while tossing some clothes over their shoulders, picking their outfits out and complimenting each other on their choosing. Behind them, Frank stared at huge pile of clothes in shock because it reached to his hip level and kept growing, which make the Frankenstein's monster wonder how much he had paid for. Mokanai pose in front of mirrors, swaying her white and black mini dress with gold trims, and Murray appear behind her with a double thumb up before his daughter swat his face with her hair, then she walk away with her nose up in air. Teenagers. Murray sighed with slumped shoulders. Sabella apply red glossy lipstick to her mouth, wearing a red backless dress with short leg slit. The rock music blares loudly as the monsters dance to the beats and enjoy the party that Wendy has set up. You girls look really good, Naruto said to his friends after spotting his mother dancing with Dracula and their friends. Frankie, you always look really good and cute in blue. Thank. Frankie giggled. She wear a sparkly blue dress with yellow belt, blue ribbon that holds some of her hair in bun, and high heel metal wedge shoes. Laguna, you really look nice with this dress because it sure is you, and you put a lot of work in straighten your hairs out. He pointed out to Laguna's straight hair. Thank. Glad you notice it. Laguna smirked happily with a faint blush. She wear pink, black, and green dress, with pattern of octopus from top to middle, that end at her inner thighs, pink starfish necklace and red high heel shoes with tentacle-like coil up her shins. Mokanai, very regal and divine as always, Naruto chuckled. HMPH. The mummy looked away with light blush, crossed her arms. Sabella, you look very delightful in this red dress, he said. New dress? Fangs you, and yes, it is. Sabella smiled kindly. You look very Han. My turn, my turn. Toru cut the busty vampire off with bouncy steps. Tell me how I look. She wear a tight black mini dress with backless low V. You look very stunning and beautiful that I don't need my eyes to know it. Naruto chuckled again and the invisible girl squealed excitingly. If anyone can see her face, it'll be very red. He turned to Winnie. I dig your looks, it's quite a knockout and sure scream you. Thank, cutie. Winnie smirked teasingly with crossed arms as her hip swaying sideways to the beats. Hey, do you want to D? Hey, gang. Wendy approached the group with a wave, wearing a tight purple dress with long slits at side and V-cut. Wow, you look beautiful. The blonde whistled at her appearance. And you look hot. The giggling redhead glanced up and down at his appearance. He was wearing buttoned shirt with orange pocket and black pant. What did you guys think of the Fireflies show? We really enjoy it. Sabella replied with clasped hands. The shapes they made were very beautiful. It really take my breath away. The other agreed with her in their own ways. Thank you for the show. You're welcome. Wendy grinned before she turned to Naruto as she jabbed her thumb at the dance floor. Hey, wanna dance with me? Yeah, I'd love to. Naruto grinned. Great. The grinning redhead take his hand then lead him to the dance floor as his friends stare on. Few of them have twitching eyebrows because this new girl just stole the first dance from them. I never get a chance to thank you for throwing a great party, Naruto said to Wendy as they danced. Thank, Wendystein, for the awesome party. No problem. Wendy giggled bashfully as they slowly moved their heads close to each other. Naruto, I am. She glanced at his lips with blush as her head kept moving toward him, like, crazily scared right now. Maybe that's a good thing, he said before he kissed her on lips and she kissed back. At same time, a armor suit popped up to inform the father-daughter vampires that Naruto and Wendystein are kissing, and the furious vampires flew over to the teenagers, swiftly separate them as they glowered over the redhead. How could you? Dracula whispered to Wendy furiously, after I shared my pain with you. And you know how I feel about that. Mavis hissed lowly. They both thought that Wendy kissed Naruto first instead of other way. But Wendy gulped at the furious vampires before Naruto stepped in front of her. Mom, Grandpa, it was just a kiss, Naruto defended. No, you're not allowed to kiss, the vampiress half shouted. Mom, I'm allowed to do things. The blonde talked back. I'm not 8 anymore. I'm allowed to like people or do things like, he think for few seconds, go see the world and meet humans. What? Mavis gasped in pure shock with her father. The world? You want to meet humans? The music stopped immediately as the monsters turned to them in shock and bewilder. No. Are you crazy? After what they did to you? No. You have to stay here, where you are safe from the evil filthy humans and... Mom. I'm a human. Naruto cut in, a good one, and that means there must be other good humans out there. Maybe I can give the humans another chance. I can learn and see things, you know, how to roll with it like Wendystein does. No, you can't leave and meet humans. The vampiress yelled. I want you to stay here with us, the monsters. Humans and monsters can't get along because of their hatred. Maybe you and everyone can make them see that we can get along. He replied, and everyone can see that you, a vampire, have been raising me, a human, well. No, that isn't possible. Mavis grabbed her son's hands with shaking head, fighting her tears back. You can't be sure about that. Naruto said, it's all in how you present yourself. Maybe you'll see that humans and monsters are no different from each other, only on outside. No, that won't make a difference, she yelled loudly. How do you know? He said back. Because it just won't, Mavis shouted. Why? Why won't it? Naruto asked. Because I'm your mom. She yelled, and I know what's best for you. You have to stay in this castle for the rest of. But, Mom. He half shouted. That's enough, Naruto. Mavis shouted furiously, and in moment of heat, she slapped him before she gasped horrific in realization with everyone. Oh. The widen-eyed vampiress covered her mouth with hands as her son looked at her shocked with hand on his cheek. I'm sorry. I don't mean to. Mom. It's okay. Naruto was about to ease his mother's worries. He understand it was in a moment of heat and not on purpose because she was doing it out of love, but something happened. MMMNF. Quasimodo rolled into the area on a cart by his pet rat, Esmeralda, with finger up his nose, seemed to be frozen. MMPH. Uh-oh. Dracula gulped under his breath. Oil? Murray guessed what the frozen hunchback was trying to say. English please. Eunice crossed her arms with a huff as the hunchback kept saying something muffling. Your voice is really annoying. Wait. I speak frozen. The fly monster approached the frozen chef to translate. He says, Dracula has brought a human into the hotel. The monsters gasped before they paused for a moment. Do you mean Naruto? Wayne lifted his index finger up. We already know that. He says, another human, Fly said, and the monsters gasped again. Another human? The female gremlin cried in fear. Stay close, Pookie. The male gremlin hugged her. He says, there is Z human. The fly monster translated the frozen chef's muffled speech, and Wendy attempted to sneak out through the back doors, but it was blocked by growing rat as the monsters gasped at the sight. Wendy Steen's not a human. Frank lifted his right arm up. She's my right arm's cousin. He pointed at the chef. He's lying. Yeah, and why is he picking his nose? Griffin pointed out. He says, it's a long story. Fly answered. Hey. Wendy cried out as Esmeralda ran amok all over her face and hair. No. Get off me. Ew. The rat somehow washed her makeup clean, then pushes the wig off. He says, behold Z human. The fly monster gestured to the sheepish redhead, and most screaming monsters run around in panic. Naruto get closer to Wendy as she looked guilty. You're a human? Yes. Wendy looked down. I'm so sorry. I don't care. The blonde suddenly hugged her as he whispered into her ear, I still want to be with you. Really? The grinning redhead said with relief, and she was about to hug back until she noticed Mavis look at them with worries and sadness as Dracula looked very worried. She remembers everything they told her about, and she make a decision with heavy heart. Well, too bad. She stepped back away from Naruto. Cause I don't want to be with you, because your family and friends are monsters and I hate monsters. Wah. Naruto looked at her strangely. Why did she said that when she was chill with everyone? Unless. Goodbye. Wendy walked away from him, then scare Murray with thrusting gesture. Please, don't hurt me. Murray covered his head with high-pitched scream, and the redhead gave the blonde one last look before she left the area and out of the hotel. Naruto. Mavis attempted to comfort her son with Dracula, but the blonde turned to face them with heartbroken expression. This is all your fault. He yelled at them before he flee into the castle, and most upset monsters looked at the vampires then leave the room. We're getting out of here. A monster grunted. I am never coming back here. Human free? What a rip. I thought I smelt a human. Oh yeah, ice machine? Also broken. The guilty vampires slowly exchange looks. Oh, here they come. Count Crocula and Mini Croc Vis. The shrunken head said as the vampires approached the door. I'm just glad my eyes are stitched shut. Cause I don't even want to. Mavis opened the door and they enter the bedroom. Naruto, sweetie, are you in there? Mavis asked until her eyes land on her son lying in his bed with an old book. Naruto? Is there anything I can do, Naruto? Dracula asked worriedly. Anything, Grandpa. Naruto muttered softly. Yes, of course, Sonny, anything. The vampire replied as his daughter nodded rapidly. Will you erase my mind? The blonde said sadly. No, 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 no. The vampiress waved her hands as her father agreed with her. No, I can't let your grandpa do that. There's too much I want you to remember. You're right, Mom. Naruto muttered. The humans are evil, it's in their nature and I'm a black sheep. Sweetie. There are so many monster girls. Mavis tried to come up with something to comfort him. You're so young too. What's that? Dracula noticed the old book. What are you reading? He picked up and both vampires read it. It's Grandma's book. The blonde sighed sadly. Mom's gift from last year. He sighed again as soon as they finished read the book. I thought we zinged. Why you and Wendy? Both Mavis and Dracula gasped. I guess it was just me. Naruto slowly pulled blanket over his head. But you should be happy, Mom, Grandpa. There's no reason for me to leave. I'm more safe here, far away from everything. I'm just like you two now, please go away. I want to be alone. Both vampires slowly exit the room. What have I done? Mavis muttered. Martha, what have I done? Dracula said at same time before they looked to each other again. The guests demand the slow-moving workers to check them out until Dracula appear with his daughter. Friends, please, stop. It's too late, Rat-Bat. Eunice huffed. Please, I'm begging you. Dracula pleaded. We need you to help us find Wendy. Mavis said. The human girl? Wayne said, she could have killed us. She touched my guitar. Murray said. She put her hand in my mouth to see if it would disappear. Griffin said. Does it? Toru asked out of curiosity. Yes. The invisible man answered. She let me eat her scooter. The elderly gremlin said as the crowd gasped. I know I lied. We were wrong. The older vampire said, but you have to believe this. Wendy wasn't a bad guy. The truth is, I don't even know if humans are bad anymore. He looked over to Frankenstein's monster. Frank, come on, buddy. You understand. He's not talking to you. Eunice said, first you tell us humans, but Naruto, are bad, now they're good. What else? Up is down, cold is hot, gremlins don't smell. Hey. Frank spoke up. I really like Wendy, cousin or no, she told fun stories. I think they zinged. Mavis looked down, Naruto and Wendy. What? Several voices can be heard. They zinged. Both Wayne and Wanda yelled in surprise with everyone else. But we got in the way. Dracula sighed with his daughter. You only zing once in your life. Frank said with his index finger up. Oi. Now you're short-circuiting. Eunice said. I don't care. The Frankenstein's monster said to her before he turned back to the vampires. Well, what are doing? Let's get Johnny. Come on. Yeah. Let's do it. Murray agreed with raised fist. Come on. Okay. Where are we going? Griffin asked after agreed to it. The human world, before Wendy's gone forever. The older vampire said. But what about the sun? Wayne asked. I don't know. Dracula walked toward the front door with his daughter. We'll just have to roll. They just rolls. The mummy followed them out with his friends, rollability. In the woods, the group follows a trail of footprints. So we follow her boot prints. Dracula said, when they run out, that's where you come in, Wayne. Me? Wayne blinked. There. Mavis pointed at something in bush and the older vampire glanced at the item to see a familiar shirt. Yes. I knew something would fall out of that backpack. The older vampire picked it up before he accidentally take a whiff from it. Youch. He held his nose. That stinks. He tossed it to the werewolf. Work your magic. Wait. You want me to track the smell? The werewolf asked before he shake his head. No, my sniffing tracking days are way behind me. He pointed at his nose. Do you know how many diapers have changed? How many number 2s have destroyed this thing? But, he whistled loudly before his children show up in frenzy around his legs. Hey. Take it easy. Watch it. Sit. He held the shirt out. Smell. I said smell. Not me. The shirt. The shirt. Do any of your kids still respect you? Dracula asked. Give me a second. Wayne hummed. Oh, yeah. Winnie. Front and center. I said, do any of your kids still respect you? The older vampire repeated before the goth werewolf appeared with annoyed expression. What the censor do you want, old man? Winnie barked. Language, young miss. The father of werewolves scolded as she flipped him off. Please smell this shirt, we need to find Wendy. The goth werewolf looked at the shirt dirty for few moments before she huffed. The things she does for her best friend and she want to get some answers. She snatched the shirt to smell it. She got into a car. A 86 Fiat. She pointed to a certain direction. It needs a little transmission work, but otherwise okay. It drove through town to the airport. Flight 497. 8 a.m. Departure. That's in 15 minutes. Seat 23A. She ordered the red meat meal. Okay. Thank you, cutie. Wayne said. Censored off. Winnie turned to lead her siblings away from the group. Let's go back to old lady. Hurry. Mavis ran off with the group. They reach a city named Transylvania and the monsters encountered the humans for first time. They were so confusing why everyone were dressing up like certain monsters. Monster Festival. Wayne looked at the flyer weirdly. What's a monster festival? Did they know we were coming? Murray asked. They like us? Frank said oddly before he grinned. Really? Excuse me. Dracula called out to nearby human, who dress up like him. Do you know the best way to the airport? Are that what all humans look like? Mavis looked around bewilderedly as her father talked to the human before the vampire talked to his friends about how to reveal themselves to the humans, and she noticed something else, a neat poster. What's that? The vampiress looked closer with widened eyes. The poster have picture of her son when he was little and the text read, Memorial Vigil. Oh, that's the Memorial Vigil for Naruto. The same human walked over to her after the monsters finally revealed themselves to the exciting humans. We do that every years after the monster festival so we don't forget him. Why? She asked confusingly. You don't know. The man said as she shook her head, it's a very sad tale. There was some crazed cult led by a racist man around here many years ago. The cult believe in purity, and that the mixed races will taint the pure humanity, turning everyone into demons, so they want to save the purebreds by killing any interracial couples they come across. They kidnapped mixed children to cleanse them by holding them in small cages, starving them then beat them. What they did was very sickening. He sighed sadly. By the time, when the police got there, they were able to save every child. The man looked at the poster, but one. The leader of this cult bragged about how they torture this poor boy then dump him in woods where no one can find him again. His parents? Dead when he was 4. The man answered sadly, they didn't see it coming because they were shot down from behind. And the cult? Mavis muttered slowly. Gone, completely. The man answered, the leader and his top followers have been executed for their crimes. The rest are sentenced for life. I heard that most of them are dead, either from inmates' attacks or suicide. So they won't come back? She asked slowly. Yup, for good. The man nodded before he sighed again. Sometime I wonder if we should have saved this poor boy in time. He's alive. Mavis said. What? The man turned to her with a blink. He's alive. She said, I come across him many years ago and we nursed him back to health. He's my son, I adopted him.
He's alive, the man said before a big smile broke out across his face. He's alive. And you're his mother. He turned to the crowd. Guys. This vampire lady told me she found Naruto and adopted him. He's alive. The humans suddenly cheered at the good news. Oh, thank you, Naruto's vampire mama, for the best news.
Mavis blinked at the humans bewilderedly. I guess, I was wrong about humans after all. Listen, guys. Griffin hollered over to everyone. Drax's daughter's son's in love, and they've got to get to the airport, and they can't get through this crowd. Why doesn't they fly? Someone asked. The sun, you idiot. Another person hollered, they're vampires. That's right. Dracula nodded, thank you, monster nerd. So, people, if you really are our friends, clear a path for them. Murray called out. Okay. The man walked into his place. All Draculas, line up. Blah, blah blah. The Draculas, lined up. Everyone else, lift the capes. Protect our friends. Blah, blah blah. Everyone lift their capes up over their heads. It's all for you, buddies. He turned back to them. Go ahead. Both real vampires looked at each other before they ran under the tunnel of capes as the humans rooted for them. Daddy, Mavis whispered to him. I know, honey. Dracula smiled gently. Their views of humans have been changed. Naruto was moping on the stairs and his friends tried to cheer him up. Do you want me to make you your favorite soup? Laguna asked. Ramen, miso soup, right? No thank. Naruto muttered. What do you get if you cross a vampire with a snowman? Sabella tell him a joke to cheer him up, frostbite. Ha, the blonde muttered. Wanna go on a prank spree or try to find me hiding somewhere without clothes? Toru asked, drawing couple looks from her girlfriends. How about we take a midnight run and howl to the moon? Winnie censored her bubblegum in. It's morning. Naruto pointed out. Want to go get ice cream and eat them all? Frankie suggested, and Naruto was about to say something until Mavis and Dracula enter the castle with burnt appearance. Mom, Grandpa. The blonde quickly ran over to them. What happened? Are you? We're fine, Dracula groaned out, just little sunburnt. Sweetie. Mavis placed her hands on her worried son's shoulders. I always thought the worst thing ever would be seeing you go. She bit her lower lip, but the worst is seeing you unhappy. Naruto, I want you to live your life. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. Naruto sighed, and he was about to say more until his mother cut him off. You know, I and your grandpa haven't give you your birthday present. The vampiress stepped back with a gentle smile as Dracula showed Naruto a large orange, black and red backpack with hotel's logo. What do I need this for? The blonde asked them confusingly as the guests gathered in front of them. Oh, it comes with an accessory. Dracula turned the backpack around to reveal Wendy, attaching to the backpack's straps with a smile. Hi. Wendy lifted her hand up. Wendy Steen? Naruto said in shock. It's Wendy. The redhead put her feet back down on ground. Why are you back? He asked. 'Cause, Wendy tucked hair behind her ear with a blush. You're my zing, Naruto. I'm your zing? Naruto said surprised, but, you told me you hate monsters. Yeah, well, I was afraid your mom was going to censor all the blood out of my body if I didn't say that. The redhead giggled sheepishly. I wouldn't have. Mavis laughed nervously. She slumped her shoulders. No, she's right, I would have done that. Dracula believed he would do the same thing in her place if someone were pinning for his little girl. Mom. The blonde looked at her. I was wrong, lamb chops. The vampiress blushed embarrassingly. Do you really mean it, Mom? Naruto slowly smiled to her. Go make your own paradise. Mavis smiled back and the blonde turned to the redhead. So, Wendy smiled timidly, can we try that kiss over again? We can. The blonde smiled and they lean in, about to kiss, but Mavis snarled in front of them with her monster face and the teenagers stare at her blankly. I'm sorry. The embarrassed vampiress held her hands down in front of her with a sheepish giggle. Gee, go do your thing. She backpedaled away from them to her father's side. Hold me back. Yes, honeynut. Dracula replied. Let's try again. The smiling redhead turned back to Naruto and they were about to kiss, but hold it. Winnie pulled Naruto back with her arm around his neck as she looked at the redhead with narrowed eyes. You said you zinged with him? Yeah. Wendy replied honestly. I zinged with him. The werewolf said firmly. What? Almost everyone cried out. Wait, what? Naruto blinked rapidly together with Wendy. When? The day we first met. Winnie said, and since then, I always like you. The blonde uttered. Hey. Toru suddenly jumped onto Naruto's back with her arms around his stomach. He's my zing, mine. That is kinda awkward because I also zing with him. Laguna appeared at Naruto's other side. I have admitted that I zing when we collided at our first meeting, Sabella said. I zing him too. Frankie raised her hand up and almost everyone looked over to Mokanai, who was filing her nails before she looked up to them with raised eyebrow. Yeah, we zinged. Mokanai said nonchalantly, so what? So what? So what? The sea monster stuttered to her mummy friend, we zinged with him, which mean he have to pick one of us and you're saying so what? Why does he have to pick? The mummy arched her brow at them weirdly, we all zinged with him so that mean we share him. Whoa, baby girl. The times have changed since we have been entombed. Murray walked up to his daughter with index finger up and the daughter of Mummy just held her hand up to him in a talk to the hand gesture before he pull a U-turn then walk away with his finger up. You're right, baby girl. Daddy have to stay out of this one. Carry on. It's simple, he'll pick everyone and we have our happy ending. Mokanai said, I don't mind sharing him with you girls. You're my ghoul friends, even the human girl. She resumed filing her nails, so I'm going to say it again, so what? Let's share him. That's crossing, Naruto said until someone cut him off. Okay. Winnie shrugged her shoulders with a popped gum. Well, I don't mind, give it a try. Frankie tapped her chin. Same here. Laguna agreed with the daughter of Frankenstein's monster. Sure. As long as I get piece of my stud, Toru said bubbly. I don't mind sharing him with everyone as long as we're happy. Sabella smiled and the girls looked over to the redhead as the blonde gawked at them. Him, with you all? Wendy blinked before she suddenly gave them a thumb up with easygoing grin. I'm totally in. Wah. The blonde dropped his jaw to floor with widened eyes. Hey. I like to roll with things, you know. The grinning redhead shrugged her shoulders, and I have a good feeling that things will get more steamy and fun one day. She wiggled her eyebrows at him, can't wait for it. Can I have a say in th? Naruto slowly lifted his finger up. No, almost all of his friends said before Winnie dragged him toward the party room. Come on, you still owe us a dance. Party's back on. Wendy followed them with a laugh and the gawking guests and relatives stared at the group as they entered the room before the guests slowly exchanged look with each other then shrugged their shoulders, decide to join the party. Didn't see that one coming. Griffin said stunningly. I thought you only zing once in lifetime. Frank muttered amazingly. Guess times have changed again. The invisible man said before he heard a collective of thuds and he turned around to see his friends and Mavis fainted on the floor. Ooh, boy. No. Mavis suddenly sit up with a screech before she run toward the room. Get your hands off my innocent baby. Ooh boy. Griffin shook his head before he went over to wake his fainted friends up while the vampiress tried to stop the girls from sinking their hands into her little boy. She is so not ready for that. Mavis was having dinner with Dracula and Naruto, and his 7 wives. It had been about 2 years after Wendy came to the hotel and the girls somehow make the bizarre relationships work before they get married in the largest marriage ceremony ever. Mavis was glad that her son decides to stay here with his wives but she still has some hard time accepting this situation. The ham is really good. Mavis said to Wendy. Thank you for cooking us dinner tonight. Thank and welcome. Wendy grinned and she turned to face Naruto across the table before she lightly nodded her head toward the vampires with animated eyes as the blonde glanced between her and others with animated eyes as if they were having a mental conversation. Naruto swallowed his foods as he set his fork aside before he looked over to his mother and grandpa. Mom, Grandpa, I have something to tell you too. What is it? Mavis takes a bite of her ham, chewing it. I'm going to be a dad. The blonde gave them a grin and the vampiress suddenly spit ham all over her father out of shock as the older vampire gaped at the news with widened eyes. WWWHO. The vampiress coughed roughly before she takes a long sip of her water to wash the foods down. Sabella, Wendy and Winnie. Naruto answered as the said women lifted their hands up and his mother once again spit all over her shocked father's face, with water this time. WW wah. Mavis stuttered bewildered before she passed out face down in her dinner. Well, that went well. Winnie took a bite of her meat calmly as if her mother-in-law didn't pass out and several women nodded in agreement. Mostly. Frankie glanced at the frozen grandpa-in-law worriedly. Is he okay? As soon as she finished her question, the vampire fell back onto the floor with his legs up. Yes, he's fine. Mokanai replied curtly. Naruto and his 4 wives were tending to 3 heavy pregnant women, who are lying in a giant bed. Do you want me to get you something? He asked. Yeah. Get me a hot dog rolled in cheese pizza with hot chocolate sauce. Wendy grinned. Pickles dipped in chocolate and melted cheese. Winnie replied. Strawberry ice creams, 2 scoops with pickle juice and hard-boiled eggs. Sabella smiled, please. You want? Naruto blinked owlishly. What? But they're kinda unhe. Go get us the foods. The pregnant wives yelled at their yelping husband. Why yes, dears. The blonde quickly rushed to fetch their bizarre orders. Gee. I wonder what kind of weird food craving I will have one day, Toru muttered wearily and Laguna nodded at that. Mavis waited with bated breath as she glanced at the doors few times and her father were pacing back and forth in hallway. What's taking them so long? Dracula asked worriedly. Did something happen? Did they? Dad, relax. Mavis said nervously. It's taking longer because the girls have labor almost at same time and if anything happen, they'll let us know. But why do we have to wait out here? The older vampire asked before he gazed to hanging uniform. Because they want it to be surprise. The vampiress replied, and don't think about it, Dad. The stuttering vampire was trying to deny something until they hear the doors opening and they look over to see Naruto poking his head out. Guys, they're here. Naruto grinned, come and see them. The eager vampires entered the delivery room and the first thing they see is 4 of Naruto's wives gushing over bundles in the arms of 3 tried-now mothers. Let me introduce you to our children from oldest to young, starting with Winnie. He gestured to the werewolf as she showed them a triplet, a girl and 2 boys. Winter, Shaw and Lupin. Winter, the girl, and Shaw appear to be full werewolf and Lupin appear to be mixed between human and werewolf because he have some furs and small baby fangs. Each child have brown hairs with blue eyes. Winter have a single streak of blonde hair. Meet Kate. Wendy smiled down to her newborn daughter, rocking her gently. Kate has turf of fiery-colored hair, green eyes and bit of freckles. And Dennis. Sabella glanced at her son happily and Dracula looked over him to see the child look so much like a human and less vampire. The baby boy has purple turf of hair and blue eyes. Must be a late fanger. Dracula worried to himself. Ah. I can't decide which one to hold first. Mavis melts at the sight of her grandchildren and her son just smile at his growing family. Daddy. Why do you and mommies have to go? Naruto looked down to Kate, a 4-year-old girl in Jack Lumber-like outfit with blue overall, as she pouted up to him while he was packing his luggage with his wives. We? Because we're just visiting your grandpa for couple days and it'll be very boring for you kids. Naruto patted her head with a light chuckle. Beside, your grandma and great-grandpa are going to take care of you and your siblings so it'll be more fun than sitting around in Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is not boring. Kate whined, over there, I can kick gnomes all I want and it's okay. Yeah. Shaw pop out under the bed, their best chew toys. Right next to mini golf people. Lupin pokes his head out with some dust bunnies in his hair, both wearing black shirt with shorts. Maybe during summer. Wendy smirked amusingly at the kids. I really hope you don't encounter our children to go loose on these poor creatures when they come. Frankie looked at the redhead slightly concerned, she now have a small bump in her stomach. Peeved, know her, she will go ahead and do it. Laguna snorted amusingly, appear to be 4 months pregnant. Until we tell our children not to do it. Mokanai replied flatly, supporting a large bump and it seems that she is about 7 to 8 months pregnant. Oh. And Winter is playing rough with Dennis again. Winter, get off your brother. Winnie huffed at the tussling children and Winter hop off Dennis right away. No fair, I was winning. Dennis sit up with a pout. Yes, you were but we need you kids to be careful around us so your new brothers and sisters won't get hurt if you accidentally push someone like Toru Mama down. Sabella patted her son's head with a soft tone, she's about due in few weeks. Yup, and I can't wait to spoil my first baby rotten. Toru giggled and the children stare up at the invisible woman's voice, since they can't even see her because she wasn't wearing anything right now. Wait. How can you and we see the baby when it comes? Winter pointed at Toru's direction curiously. Wait until the baby come and we'll know. Naruto ruffled his werewolf daughter's hair. The family don't know if Toru's child will be invisible or visible until the due date. We want you kids to be good to your grandma and great-grandpa while we're gone. Can you promise us that? Yes, Daddy. The children answered in their own way. The next few days were blurry and full of chaos because of few certain events. First, Naruto found out through an internet video that Dracula tried to teach Dennis how to fly by throwing him off the tallest platform in front of his friends and didn't do anything while the little boy kept falling until the vampire dive at last minute to save his great-grandson, only have the boy rescued by Mavis. Naruto and his wives immediately went home the very next day and he chewed his mother and grandpa out for doing this stunt, even Sabella get involved because that is her son. Naruto told them that he'll move out with his family so the children can be safer and suddenly dropped the bombshell that he invited Vlad, his great-grandpa who he have heard about, to meet his great-great-grandchildren for the first time at their birthday party. Dracula panicked because his father wasn't very big on humans and Mavis was freaking out that her son is going to leave for good. The first meeting between Vlad and Naruto's family didn't went well at first until the elder vampire have a change of heart when Bala attempted to attack the children, which awakened Dennis' vampire side, and shrink the bat monster to tiny size, allow the werewolves pup playing with Bala. Vlad decided to accept Naruto as his great-grandson because Dracula and Mavis had stand up to him and did their best to change his views on humans. Naruto also changed his mind to stay at the hotel and raise his family, much to Mavis, Dracula's and most wives' joy. 2 years have passed and Naruto's family has grown slightly. Moke and I have a mummy twin boy and girl named Minis and Neferet. Toru have an invisible son named Riku. Frankie have a daughter named Mary, who is Frankenstein's monster and a splitting image of her mother when she was little but with blonde and white hair, and Laguna also have daughter named Coral, who is a half-human, half-sea monster. Naruto's family weren't the only one that grow in number because Dracula somehow end up falling in love with Erika, a human captain, from a cruise trip that Mavis have surprised everyone for their vacation. Honestly, Naruto don't know enough details because he was too focused with his children and there was a weird moment when the ship was attacked by Kraken. The reason why it was weird because Wendy somehow saved everyone by playing a Macarena song. Again, Naruto don't remember much about it and do not know enough details. Right now, Naruto quietly step out into the hallway as he slowly closed the nursery room while looking at his sleeping younger children and the door closed with a quiet click before he returned to his bedroom. You finally put them down to sleep? Sabella asked her husband with a smile, sitting on edge of bed while the other women were changing into their nightwear attire. Yeah, barely. Naruto chuckled lightly. They can't let me go until I read them a bedtime story one more time. The other kids? All tucked in and sleeping, even Tinkles. Laguna replied, the boys want their pet puppy to stay in their room for night and the sea monster suspect that Winter might have sneaked into the boys' room already so she can sleep near their new pet. Good. He nodded as he take his shirt off then his pant and he was about to grab his pajama pant but Winnie suddenly catch his lips in a passionate kiss that last for about few minutes. Wow. What's that for? Naruto asked before he feel her hand cupping his groin with a soft need. I want more kids. Winnie said, fondling her husband's covered erecting member as the rest look at them with different reactions. Oh. The blushing blonde coughed into his fist. Let's do it in other room. Their bedroom has 2 extra rooms, a large bathroom and huge closet and one of their extra room have an extra bed for a certain activity. It's mainly to avoid some awkward moments like trying to sleeping next to censoring couple for example. Let me get in some action. Wendy immediately pulls her shirt off to reveal her perky censors. Me too. Toru bounced on the bedside, completely nude and the only sign she's there is her rear indent in mattress. It has been a while since we did it and Dennis has been asking me for new sibling lately. Sabella hummed with a small smile. You know what, I need a good laid tonight. Moke and I remove her clothing with a tiny grin. Well, guess I'll join the party. Laguna shrugged with a light smirk. If everyone is going to do it, then, Frankie pulled her pant down with a heavy blush. Wait. All of you. Naruto stuttered with blushes. That's kinda sud. He get cut off by his own moan when Winnie suddenly get down on her knees as she pull his member out through the opening of his boxer and swallow his erected member in one move, bobbing her head back and forth in sloppy fashion. Someone's very horny, huh? The sea monster lean on her husband's back with her arms around his torso, stroke his chest lovely. When was the last time we all did it together? Somewhere last year, the blonde moaned out before Wendy suddenly catch his lip, starting making out with their snaking tongues and he swear he heard someone lock the door. Okay. I locked the door. Toru skipped up to them with a giggle. Don't want any kids to walk on us like last time. She grabbed Naruto's left arm, placing it between her grinding groin and he can feel her sensors pressing up against his upper arm. Please don't remind me. Sabella blushed embarrassingly as the rest of the wives press up against their husband with various actions. It was so awkward and embarrassing when Dennis walk on his parent doing it in bed because he have a nightmare and he innocently thought they were playing a wrestle game. That was the most embarrassing moment in her life. Are you getting closer? The redhead whispered to him after she break the kiss. Why yes. Naruto moaned before Frankie make out with him for few minutes and the werewolf speed her blowjob up while fingering herself with wagging tail. Hey, don't hog his mouth all to yourself. The invisible woman pouted as the Frankenstein's monster continued to make out with their husband and when Frankie break apart, Toru immediately pounce onto his lip to make out with him. Naruto's tongue disappear into thin air when it enter the invisible woman's mouth to wrestle with her tongue and the rest of his wives take turn to make out with him before he suddenly ejaculate inside Winnie's mouth. The werewolf pull the censored out of her mouth with a wet pop and she get up to turn around, licking her lower face clean. I'm putting it in. Winnie line her lover's censored up to her lower mouth as she bend down, still standing. Oh okay. The blonde said, his werewolf wife tend to do it straightforward instead of dragging out with foreplay, That and she's really horny than usual. His wives take few steps back to allow their husband and fellow wife to start their activity. Naruto place his hands on Winnie's hip as the werewolf lean backward, moaning out when her lover's censored enter her maidenhood, and without any hesitance, Naruto pull few inches out then thrust forward while the moaning werewolf rock her body back and forth to increase her pleasure. The thrusting speed start out slow then faster within few minutes, and the blonde's right hand move up under her torso to grope one of her juggling censoreds, kneading and squeezing it in process. Winnie drop onto her knees and hands, ending up in doggy position as her lover kept hammering into her while playing with her censoreds. Naruto, please finger me. Mokanai press up against Naruto's side and she bit her lower lip to stifle her moans as he insert 2 fingers inside her lower mouth from behind, fingering her. She shower his face with pecks then push her tongue into his mouth, making out and stroking his chest tenderly before she squeak out with red face when he slap her rear lightly after pulling his fingers out. He resumed fingering her while thrusting into his moaning werewolf wife, pleasuring the mummy greatly. Who want to fool around with me a bit while they have their fun? Wendy rub her groin, watching the group as she smirked to her fellow wives. Yeah. Let's do 69. Toru crawl onto the smirking redhead and they start to eat each other out. To make it better for Wendy, she can watch her husband censoring the werewolf to raise her pleasure, thanks to the invisible woman's body. Can I make out with you? Laguna asks Sabella, hugging her from behind and her webbed hands cup the vampiress large censoreds. Yes, you may. Sabella lean her head back to make out with the sea monster. Frankie was fingering herself and fondle with her own censoreds. The Frankenstein's monster rarely pleasure women because she's little uncomfortable perform it and her family respect it. It went on for a while until Naruto moan out, "W Winnie, I'm coming." The moaning werewolf push her wiggling hip back against his censored to hold it inside and she moan out in pleasure of climax as her lover flood her inner cavern with his seeds. Hey, did you censored med? Wendy lift Toru's hip up with a wide grin as Naruto pull out before she push the invisible woman over carefully. I call next turn. Damn it. The invisible woman pouted childishly, no fair. I call third. So, it's one climax per turn this time. Naruto massaged his mummy wife's rear, kneading Winnie's buttocks with other hand. Yup. Almost everyone said at same time. And no, I want more. Winnie whined softly with twitching ass but no one heard her. Lie down. The grinning redhead patted the bed and her husband lie down. Allow her to saddle him in cowgirl position as his member enter her lower mouth in one move. Censored. She moaned out at the feeling of her lover's member stretching her out and she take his hands, placing his hands on her ample censoreds before she slowly bounce on him. Naruto thrust his hip upward to meet her bouncing hip as he caress and fondling her censoreds, sometime rubbing her side with one hand. Naruto, can I sit on your face? Frankie asked, crawling toward him. Why yes. Naruto moaned out before the Frankenstein's monster sit on his face and Frankie moan out as soon as the blonde immediately explore her wet maidenhood with his tongue without any warning, causing her to buck her hip slightly to increase her pleasure. Frankie. Is it okay for me to touch you? Wendy gestured to Frankie's juggling bust with moans, bounced furiously on their lover's thrusting hip. GG go ahead. Frankie nodded with heavy blush and her moans grow loud when the redhead fondle her censoreds as she latch her mouth onto Frankie's censored with greedy censoreds. If we're going to take turn then I want to be fourth. Laguna said, still pleasuring Sabella. Fifth. Mokanai fingered Winnie's lower mouth then pull it out to censored onto her censored-laced fingers. I'll gladly go last. Sabella spoke out with small moans, rubbing the sea monster's groin and the groups pleasure each other for a while until Wendy climaxed with a pleasuring cry as her lover ejaculate inside her few times in a single row. Frankie comes almost at same time and the lovers slowly get off their husband. Toru, where you at? Wendy called out with some pants, it's your turn now. Right here. Toru said near the bedside as she patted a spot. Naruto, can you sit up here? Why yeah. Naruto shuffle over to the spot to sit up, the usual? Yup, you know me. The invisible woman saddles him as Naruto's censored disappear into her lower mouth and she wrap her legs around his waist, sliding arms around his neck. Ready. Naruto held her rear then stand up and thrusting upward into his bouncing wife, slowly at first and increasing the speed with each thrust. The blonde leaned forward and his mouth wrap on something soft and plump as the invisible woman moan out with some giggles, running her hand through his hair. Naruto, that's my tit, silly. They usually kiss on lips while perform this action, but she don't mind it as her lover pleasure her, fondling her buttocks lovely. Yup. Still look like he's having air censored to me. Winnie commented after performed orally on Laguna's groin, watching her husband hump empty space, and she would think it's a real air censored if it wasn't for his censored's vanishing act. Here. Toru tilt Naruto's head up to make out with him, and Naruto slowly squat down as he kept thrusting rapidly into her, barely pull few inches out. It went on for a while until he empty his load out inside the moaning invisible woman's maidenhood with few pumps, and he slowly pull out, carefully put Toru down on floor, and the only sign of her being there is her cream pie as it leaked down her rear. Censored, I came 2 times, she moaned out. Do you have enough energy to do this? Laguna walked up to Naruto, then whispered something into his ear, nibbling it lightly. Why yes, I can do that. The blonde replied as the sea monster moved in front of him, her rear rubbing against his censored, and he slowly insert his member all way into her lower mouth from behind. Squat down a bit. They bend down slightly and Laguna wrap her arms around his neck above her head while Naruto slid his hands under her legs, then lift her up, straighten up again as he held her in full Nelson position. He start to bounce on his heels to thrusting upward into the moaning sea monster, and the thrusting speed increase with each thrusts as Laguna's legs bobbing up and down like ragdoll. It really don't take long enough until Laguna climaxed together with her husband as the mixed love fluids flow out of her lower mouth with couple pumps, and Naruto slowly pull out, then put her down on bed carefully. Come here. Mokanai grabbed both sides of Naruto's hip to pull him closer to her head. Let me clean it first. I don't want a dirty censored in me yet. She swallow her lover's censored stained censored, then bob her head with twirling tongue, and it last for couple minutes before she whip it out of her mouth. Spoon me. They lie down on their left sides as Naruto's member wiggle its way inside the mummy's maidenhood, and he lift her right leg up slightly. Want to take it slow or? Naruto censor edle her neck tenderly, and his free hand strokes her body gently. Do whatever you like. The mummy blushed, enjoying the attention she received from her husband. Alright. The blonde resume his kissing as he start to thrusting into her from behind with rapid motions, and Mokanai fondle her own censoreds with one hand to increase her pleasure. It went on for a while until Naruto suddenly sit up, saddling her left thigh in process, and he rammed deeply into her while holding her right leg up onto his shoulder. Hard. Mokanai moaned out as her lover drilled her deeply and faster for a good amount of time until he came inside her and she climaxed few moments after. Naruto pull out, then sit up, and before he know it, Frankie sit on him face to face with her legs around his waist as she place hands on his shoulders. See, can you do it gentle? Frankie asked with blush as her maidenhood censors her lover's member in with a single move, and she grinds her hip slightly. Yes, Frankie. Naruto kissed her as he placed hands on her hip to hold her, then he lift her up slightly before he lower her down to meet his rocking hip, causing her to bounce with soft moans. They start out gently and slowly increase as the moaning Frankenstein's monster tell him to go faster and little hard. Her pleasure grow when Naruto caress her buttocks while licking and censored her small bust in a teasing fashion. It continued for a while before Frankie cried out in pleasure when she reached her climax as her lover fill her inner tunnel up with his sticky fluids and the blonde remove himself from the moaning woman. Would you like a little break before we do it? Sabella asked him. No thank, I'm still good to go. He replied with a small pant. Can we do missionary? Yes, my dear. The busty vampiress lie on her back with spreading legs, and her husband mount her, entering her slowly as he lift her legs up onto his shoulders. Naruto start to thrusting into her with bucking hip, and his left hand grope her large censored, caressing it with his thumb. Harder, please, she moaned out before she gasped out in pleasure as her lover's thrusts become hard and faster that it pushed her hip up slightly off the mattress, and it went on for who know how long until he release his seeds inside her. Naruto remain inside her for few moments before he pull out, flop down on his back. Oh okay, that's N. Naruto panted before he squeak out with some moans when Sabella suddenly sandwich his censored with her large censoreds, stroking as she licked the tip, and his other wives join her to pleasure him orally. Hey, he moaned out under his wives' tongues on his censored. Are we going to keep going? Why yup, I told you. Winnie licked her lover's tip slowly. I want more babies. And we all want more children too. Mokanai rubbed his censored with the censored of her censored, not caring if Naruto suddenly ejaculating all over her face along with other women's faces. We're not going to stop until you give us what we want. She wiped up some fluids off her face then put it in her mouth. Oh boy. The blonde gulped at his grinning wives. Free for all. Toru dove at him and the other wives jumped on the screaming blonde before they resumed their lovemaking for hours and hours. Naruto fainted 2 weeks later when he found out that all of his wives are pregnant at same time, and he was very exciting to break the good news to his mother, grandpa, new grandma, children and family-in-laws, which caused everyone, but Naruto, his wives and their children, to faint. It looked like the Hotel Transylvania will be very busy all seasons, but one thing that never changes is the love of a family, blood or not. Thanks for watching.